Live. Should be live. Should be live. Shout out to everybody in the building. What's up? What's going on? Back with another Saturday show. Back with another Saturday show. Damn, what was I about to say? Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button as you're catching this thing live or you're catching it after it's uploaded. We're going to be getting it. It's going to be actually piggybacking on the show that we did yesterday. In the title, you can see where it says, "Are brown people taking black people rights away?" There's lots of variations of brown. You start talking about the Indians, which counts as Asians, and all of that. It's basically like it's a whole lot of people in between black and white. There's a whole lot of people, a whole lot of daylight, a whole lot of people in between black and white, and they're fighting for their piece of this American pie. And we're lumped in with them, black and brown people, but they're on fights and on missions that don't care about you or your blackness or whatever you're fighting for. If you're fighting for anything but black people, are sort of cowed and sheeped into falling into that group. That's ultimately some point when, as we talk about a lot on this show, me and Hood were just talking about that in the back with when it comes to a point where white people are no longer the minority, no longer the majority in this country, and some variation of black and brown people are the majority in this country, where do black people fall and where do black people rank in that whole new scheme? Do we have will we end up with a new person that we're complaining to about us not getting our rights and our justice and our liberties and what we want and all of that stuff? And you get the point. You get the gist of where this show is going. So strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
All right. What's up? What's going on, everybody? Shout out to everybody in the building. 49 people in here already. Make sure you hit the like button. Shout out to those of you who made it in bright and early. Shout out to those of you who made it in bright and early. Deacon Dave in the building. Aaron B. just being Jazzy's podcast, Crafty Ideas, and Chill Spot. Shout out to you. Shout out to who else we got in here? Infantry Skills. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you for the information. 1,800 FBA abortions a day. Okay, cool. We need to know that. Winthrop in the building. Shout out to you. The Clue Channel. Mike Events Person says, guaranteed classic every Saturday. Absolutely. Eric Little in the building says, about to go to the side hustle now. I have Bernard and Hood conservative to rock with. Absolutely. Aaron B. Classy. Who we got there? No. Clay Bigsby 704. All right, and the last one, Jamar Roulette. Oh no, I made it to the bottom of the list. Hoop Jargon Media Network in the building. All right. I actually made it to everybody. I made it to everybody who's commented so far. Shout out to all of y'all. I appreciate everybody who dropped a comment bright and early. All right, let's go ahead and get on into this thing. Let's go ahead and get on into this. Oh, before we get all the way into it, Eric Little in here dropping the first one on. It says, "Good morning, Bernard Riley and Hood." It's Hood conservative, not Hood conservative. Just a small, subtle difference, but it rolls off the tongue a lot better. Hood conservative, you throw that conservative, hood conservative. Yeah, don't sound right. Anyway, shout out to you. Do appreciate you putting $2 on
these last $2. I'm not gonna lose.
All right. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get into this thing. And as I kind of alluded to earlier in the show with the title, because as Hood, as most people know that listen to this, they know Hood, sends me the titles and the topics of these Saturday shows that we do, and our brown people taking black people rights away. I immediately thought Mexicans or Hispanic and Latino. Well, I don't think we're supposed to call them Mexicans, but anyway. I immediately thought that, but then he was saying, no, it's a whole nother color spectrum that gets confusing, where there's some Asians that fall under the category of brown people. So without further ado, I'll pass it to Hood Conservative, and now he disappeared right before I pass it to him. I'm about to say I'll pass it to Hood Conservative, and he could more or less set up the show and what we're going to be talking about here. And then he disappeared right when I was about to pass him the mic, which is weird because all right, here we come back. I was about to set the show up and lay out the ground rules, so to speak, of what we're talking about, but I think Hood Conservative is back, so we'll let him go ahead and speak on that. What we talking about today? What's up? What's on your mind? You got the mic. Are you there? Mic check. All right, having some technical difficulties, stumbling out the blocks. I'll go ahead and more or less set this up the way that I did in the pre-intro ramble, where basically what's going on here is something that we've discussed, that I've touched on this, that it's coming a time moving down the pipeline where white people will not be the majority in this country. Some coalition of black and brown or yellow or whatever kind of people will be the basically, lumping all those together in one category. Those will all be the majority. And we're seeing things happen and seeing things play out. And we saw it play out with the whole affirmative action thing, the topic I did yesterday. We saw it play out from that standpoint, where basically the Asians are saying that they're not getting their fair shake of this American pie. Why aren't they getting it? Well, there's black people taking their spots on college campuses, on good college campuses. That they say they deserve those spots because they earned it. But we live in a meritocracy. So they're saying that when they're holding their signs up fighting against affirmative action, they're essentially fighting against black people. With this whole new America that's on the rise, where white people will no longer be the majority, I think a lot of black people look at that and they say, yeah, that's good. We're overthrowing the white oppressor, and we're teaming up with other variations of people of color to do it. And that's a good thing. Fist in the air. Yeah. I think the problem that comes in with that is that these other people of color, they have their own fight. They don't care about your black fight, or the quote Hood Conservative. Something that he was saying in the back is that they're not coming over here to be a nigga with you. They got their own thing that they're trying to fight for, and they're getting more organized about it. They're doing it in a way that that makes more sense than the way in which you're doing it. So, as Art says in the chat room, make room for the new oppressor. Given the history of Black people, it's an unfortunate possibility that it could end up playing out like that, to where, I don't go around calling people oppressors just because in a open free market democratic a system, a capitalist system, that they're winning. I don't go around calling them oppressors. I think that's something that Black people do too much of as well. If another group starts winning, then they're the oppressor. No, they're the ones that's winning. You're still in the game. It's like that's how I look at it. That's how I view it. But given the way that most Black people look at these things and view these things, it does reek of it coming down that pipeline where it'll turn into somebody else that we'll just be complaining to about not getting what we want and what they doing to us and all of this and everything like that. It does reek of that. It does seem like it's going to ultimately turn into that. But we're going to give this another try. Unmute yourself if you got it. Okay. Successfully.
Mic check.
And he's good. He lives. All right.
Yeah, apologies. As soon as you passed me the mic, everything went haywire.
Yeah.
So I really couldn't hear most of what you were saying in the interim. So let me just start from the beginning of what I was thinking about this whole thing. Black people have been told for a long time now that the browning of America is happening. And it is, in fact, a good thing for Black Americans that America is becoming browner. It's like an inevitability that we must celebrate and cheer on. But I've started to wonder, is this really going to be good for us, having all these other groups? Whether or not they are, in fact, brown like us is actually irrelevant, because we're finding out these other brown groups, and Bernard is right. We were kind of having a little joke about this, but Indians are, in fact, brown yellow people. So they're brown Asians, technically, right? So even when we talk about the Clarence Thomas thing and Asians not getting into colleges at the levels that they want Black people, that they want to get into because of Black people, I mean, I'm oversimplifying, but that's the short version of it. Asians want more spots, and Black people are getting too many spots that they don't deserve. Indian students, like your regular brown-skinned Indian students, they kind of fall into that category as well. And I've heard several stories of HBCUs using Indians to, keep their tech department alive or whatever. There was this one famous incident where this one guy, he was like an Indian guy, with a typical Indian sounding name or whatever, and he couldn't get into any schools. And then he shaved all his hair off and switched his name up to a more, I think he called himself Jamal or something, like very African American. And he got into school. Like, this was a story going around a while ago, right? And the point I'm making in telling these little anecdotes is that the other brown people don't share our interest, even if they kind of resemble us from a distance. Yeah. So the question then becomes, well, before we even get to the question, there's another thing shaping up. So if you see the Asians, a lot of people kind of mention the Asian crime bill resentfully, but just take note of how that thing went down very quietly and effectively. That's just, that one group, the Asians, right? But then when it comes to just the way things are shaping up with population density and political energy and political momentum, Black people seem to be running out of political energy and momentum. And we are going to watch other groups take the lead when it comes to who is the dominant minority. So like when America becomes a, quote, majority minority country, it doesn't look like Black people are going to be at the top of that pile of minorities. And no one has really ever stopped to sort of ask the question or have the conversation, what will this mean for Black people to exist in a minority majority country? Because the one thing you can know is that other brown people don't have white guilt. They just don't. It's not baked into the cake. And I think even something like affirmative action is essentially white guilt baked into law. And we're watching white guilt not only be repealed legally, but replaced demographically. And I don't know if this is all going to be fun and games.
Explain, what exactly does it mean? Because this is something that we'll probably have to deal with maybe 20 years down the road. You know, whenever they say that statistically white people are not going to be the majority in this country, that's coming down the pipeline real soon. Now, it was like a few years ago, I heard somebody say everybody 5 years and under, they're already majority non-white. You know, everybody 5 years old and under. And that was a few years ago. So these people are going to be slowly approaching 18. So eventually it's going to be, in probably 10 years, it'll probably be a point where everybody, you know, under the age of 18 or 20 and under are majority non-white. So that is something that, you know, that's going to be a paradigm shift in the country when that starts, you know, playing out. Here's the thing: when you said that, you know, the dominant minority, when all of that starts playing out, what does it exactly mean to be the dominant minority in that, you know, majority minority country? Because I take it doesn't simply just mean numbers. There's some political positioning, some you know, still trying to play on white guilt to get white people to not fight for their country back. And there's an element of it where you got to probably oppress some other minorities too. So how does that work and play out? You know, the whole political end of that. I can see all kinds of, you know, political civil wars between different minority groups happening that's supposed to be on their team to take down the white oppressor, but they're gonna be fighting with each other. So, like, how does this play out? How does one maintain that dominance that you speak of?
Well, we've seen one sort of when you spoke of these civil wars, right? They're all over the left, and we've seen one of them play out kind of funny, in my opinion, very hilariously, if you think about it all, with Pride Month and the Muslim community in America. So, and I actually did a little bit of a show on it. It wasn't my typical show because I had to be very tongue in cheek about it because it was a, you know, Pride Month show, and I had to be very selective about what I say about the Pride people during Pride Month. Happy Pride Month, people! Oh no, Pride Month's over.
No,
Fuck
we
them
done.
niggas.
We out. We survived.
Fuck them niggas. Pride Month is over. It's back to fuck them niggas again. But no, I was talking about
pause on that one. Pause.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I just realized that. See, but no, I was saying that the Muslim community in America and even in Canada, they are rebelling against Pride Month, right? So you have this problem with the Muslims. You got Muslim kids stomping on the Pride flag, and so the white liberals are literally like, how dare you? We let you into our country, and this is how you repay us? And the Muslims are like, yes, alhamdulillah.
Yeah. They've been dealing with that whole type of thing over in you know, I don't keep up with what's going on in Europe, but whenever I do, it's pretty damn interesting. A lot of Muslims coming over into European countries, and they out there they stomping the yard on their ass. They doing all kind of stuff that's pissing off the white natives. So,
bro, look, I was tempted to do a show about France right now, but you got to be really careful collecting footage, and footage isn't that easy to come by. It's like the same clips are everywhere, but France is on fire right now. They're having a George Floyd times a million over there, and yeah, you have no idea. Oh my God! See, this is because I don't watch news at all. I get all my news from crazy niggas on the internet.
Yeah,
and
but yeah, that's how it is nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking NBC and CNN, bro. I get all my news from this dude who doesn't even use his real name.
Exactly.
And so CNN is not CNN. France had a George Floyd incident where some guy, some Arab, he wasn't even like, you know, an African, traditionally, you know what I'm saying, like a sub-Saharan. He might have been Tunisian or something, I don't know, but he was Arab. He wasn't like an African Negroid. And some Arab guy got killed. And so now all the Muslims in France are rioting. And the reason why I made the distinction is because if you really want to get down to it, the Arabs and the blacks aren't always the best of friends either. So as black people, does it benefit you to have all the these newly arrived Muslims rioting in your country? You know what I mean? I'm speaking, you know, as if I'm a black person in France, but just the same, like, you got to be really careful playing with this immigration fire, because don't assume that all the people who ain't white love you just like you love them. No, that's not how this ever worked. It's never how that worked.
Yeah, they coming over. They don't like white people, you know. You you think y'all united in that, but they don't like your black ass either. So it's like, what do they like other than only thing they like is the opportunity that Western countries like America offer. The only thing they like is the opportunity, but they don't fuck with you. They don't fuck with white people. They don't fuck with nobody. But we got it in our head that, because, you know, black people view white people as their oppressor, so we got it in our head that we got to team up with all these other people to overthrow the oppressor. I think that's what's in the head of white. I mean, I've heard enough black people online more or less speak like that. We got to click up with the women, click up with all these other people of color and queer people and all of that to basically overthrow white patriarchy, white capitalism, white everything, because all of that stuff is the stuff that binds us. So we got to team up with these people to basically, you know, bit by bit, inch by inch, you know, one bite at a time, overthrows this system that oppresses us. Are we really just trading that in for another oppressor that may be some brown, Indian, Muslim looking, or Mexican looking people? Is that how black people going to do? They're just going to trade in an oppressor.
You ever read that movie? I mean, read the movie. You ever read this book called Animal Farm? I think it's from Orson Welles, right? So long story short, the animals hold a little, you know, revolt, a communist revolution on the farm. And their idea was basically, you know, the farmer is oppressing us, animal rights for all. And then slowly but surely, the rules got changed and things got shifted around. And by the end of the story, the pigs, who had been quietly orchestrating this whole thing secretly from the shadows, they put on suits and stood on their hind legs, and they were walking around making deals with other white businessmen. The pigs had become the white farmer that they had kicked out as the oppressor. The pigs have now become the oppressor. And I think that one of the main morals of that story is that you can never totally destroy the hierarchy. Hierarchy is innate in all beings. It's a function of human nature. And so as we go on this mad dash to destroy this hierarchy, don't assume that the hierarchy that comes in place will be kind to you. And it might, in fact, punish you even worse than the hierarchy that you hate so much right now. And I think that's something that we're flirting with when it comes to all this immigration and all these other non-white groups. Don't assume that white oppression is actually the worst oppression ever when you haven't even tasted brown oppression yet.
I see. We were talking about something in the back. You said some brown, Indian, technically Asian dude who's running for president. What was his name? Who was you talking about?
Oh yeah, you know what? I was supposed to get you that clip. His name is Vivek Ramaswamy, and what I like about him, what kind of made me notice him, is that when it comes to, like, he's running as a Republican, right? So, you know, he's already allegedly right-wing racist, right? But he's brown, so he can dodge those accusations. But what struck me about him is that as a Republican candidate, a guy coming from the right being unafraid to talk to black people, talk about black issues, it's a little bit uncommon. And so this guy Vivek, he just went to the Breakfast Club, and so that's like a whole hour or something exchange. I don't want to review the whole damn thing, but there was a good exchange between Vivek and Charlemagne the God about this white supremacy question. So here, I'm going to send you the email right now. Oh, actually, I'm just going to drop it in the back chat.
Yeah,
But
probably be quicker. But yeah, while you get ready to do that, Mr. Tobert in the building says the Congressional Black Caucus states financial resources of the federal government to ensure that African Americans and other marginalized communities are represented and are doing it to us too. The Congressional Black Caucus states the financial resources of the federal government to ensure. I think it's a word missing in there. Financial resources to the federal government to ensure that African Americans and other marginalized communities, our representatives are doing it to us too. Yeah, I think it's a missing word in there, but I barely get it. What
I understand. I understand basically what he's saying. Think about this. Why are is the Congressional Black Caucus caring about other what's it called, marginalized communities? You're specifically tasked to care for just one marginalized community, right? Now, yeah, you may have some districts, some voters in your district who are Latino or whatever, but if you're going to have let's say competing interests, then we need to think about that. We need to talk about that. So what happens is you have black elected officials. So I haven't heard any black elected official complain about. Oh, excuse me.
Hold on. I just muted you up on the other one. Okay, now you can unmute yourself on if you got it figured out. Don't quite know if you got that figured out yet, but no, I see what you're saying. That they're basically the resources that the government is supposed to be allocating for African Americans. They want to make sure that that's also going to other marginalized groups as well. That's
right.
Yeah.
Now here's the problem.
Yeah, that's worried about other people. Yeah.
As if we're playing race politics, right? What's the point of having a Congressional Black Caucus if they're going to caucus for the benefit of other groups of people? Mm-hmm. And that's what's going on. So when with the comment on the screen, like, yeah, it's absolutely true. When I was covering all these groups that are complaining about these immigrants moving into their neighborhoods in Chicago and in New York City, I can't think of any one elected official who went down there to stand on the side of the residents and say this is wrong. Not one black elected official. Think about that.
Right.
Not even an Al Sharpton or what's his name? What's the bald-headed guy's name? He's always doing stuff too now, but none of these ambulance chasers, they're not standing with black people when it comes to the immigration issue, because they got their marching orders. They know what side that they have to support, but it doesn't really. I don't know that black people are going to benefit from all these other groups coming here, essentially taking bigger and bigger pieces of a shrinking pie.
Right. I just clicked on this video. I could already tell it's going to be good, because I do remember seeing this guy, the guy that we're talking about, Vivek I forgot how to say his last name. He was in a discussion with who the hell was that? He was in a discussion with somebody. I cannot remember who it was, but they were basically having the white supremacy talk, and he wasn't going. He was saying, no, white supremacy is not the, big end all be all coup de grace that that's shit that could be overcame, and I forgot who he was talking to.
Was it Don Lemon? Because they say he killed Don Lemon on CNN. They say
I think we played that. I think we played it on the Saturday.
Probably did.
Yeah. No, he definitely gave Don Lemon the business, and And this discussion that I'm about to show here, it literally starts off with Charlemagne the God saying, it's definitely white supremacy. I definitely blame white supremacy. So these are two people that they're definitely disagreeing. Now, just to be sure, this guy who's running for president here, where's he at in the polls? Is he like, is he up there? I think I heard somebody say he was like third or something
I
like that.
mean, I mean, he's probably a distant third. I don't think he has a snowball's chance in hell, but he's interesting to watch. So I'll
Okay,
take
yeah.
that much out of it.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's cool. He getting in there. He getting in there making some noise. That's what's up. All right, cool. Cool. All right.
I mean, that's a whole nother question. We just got over the black guy. Is America ready for an Indian?
I don't know. Like I'm really divided on yeah, I think America will. I think that's going to be almost run of the mill at one point. Okay, let's look at it like this. We had Obama for 8 years. We got Trump. You can't get whiter than Trump. And a lot of people, including white people, lost their shit with Trump being in office. And then now what do we get? It was like any white guy presenting as a liberal, we're going to vote for him over Trump. But even then, you know, having Kamala come on board, a blackish woman, I think that gave him a bump. So either way, long story short, I'm just saying 8 years of Obama, 4 years of the whitest president ever, and then a ticket with a blackish woman on it. So it's not far-fetched to say, unless, a standard white Republican with a standard white male Republican running mate, unless they win, unless they overthrow Biden and the blackish woman, it's not far-fetched that the next president it will be a black or blackish person or brown or brownish person on the ticket some way somehow. That's not far-fetched to me. That may just be a regular reoccurring thing. We just talked about how the country is
Oh, it's
slowly turning
inescapable.
into a majority minority country. So
Yeah,
it's not
it's
far-fetched.
very inescapable at this point. And so, like, even like to call the Republican Party, the old school antebellum racist party is so much of a misreading of the current tea leaves, because even the Republican Party, it might be like the last bastion of where all the white votes lie, or whatever. But there's going to be a bunch of brown people in there too. Can't really get away from that.
All right. All right, let's go. Let's roll.
Here's the thing that's interesting about this, and this is something else. I don't know how this is going to shape up in the future, but I know politically this is relatively powerful. Um, you're going to get groups of non-white immigrant, people of color, American citizens who basically are competing. Well, not competing, but he comes across as loving America more than Charlemagne the God.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to sell, broadly speaking. That
Mm-hmm.
is going to sell very broadly. When it comes to like this whole black thing, and this is what I mean too about black people being seen as like not the we're not the cool people anymore, or something like that. We're gonna lose that political momentum to guys to arguments like this, because as a group, black politics doesn't sound like what he's selling right now. There's basically no aspiration in black politics. The kind of the way I think about it, there really doesn't seem to be that aspiration. It's all almost kind of like, if the white man would just get off my back, then maybe I'll do something. That's not really aspirational. Whereas like this guy, he comes across with a different kind of vision. And I think this is going to be there's definitely going to be a shift in how politics looks in the future because of guys like this, and being able to carry arguments like that forward.
Yeah, I think so. I think the reoccurring running theme with black politics, a lot of it, some of it is, black people getting things, from the government. And I'm not even talking about the welfare. I'm talking about some of the stuff, you know, that I'm drawing blanks here. But there's some things to politically fight for, you know, like opportunity zones and all, you know, stuff like that. Okay, that's one aspect of, you know, of black politics, wanting things like that. Okay, but the other part of it is the system is racist. These white people are racist. These Republicans are racist. We're fighting against racism. I guess what I want to see, and it is be interesting if the Democrat equivalent of him, how does he position? How do they position their whole political scheme, so to speak? If you understand what I'm saying, because when you're running as a Republican, you gotta talk that talk. What about when one of them? I'm just putting them in groups. What about when one of those people is running as a Democrat? Do they still speak like that, or do they speak fluent minority? If you know what I'm talking about, or fluent, you know, fluent disenfranchised community. You know, you understand what I'm saying? You muted.
That is the challenge for, I think, the Democrats and the left moving forward, right? Once upon a time, it was a lot easier to sell minorities as just this block of oppressed, disaffected people because of, you know, just the nature of the media, and it was easier to just sell that. But now we have a way different media landscape and just a lot more different stories of success, way different types of voices, right? So it's a lot harder for one immigrant person to look at another immigrant person and they both came to America, and let's say they both have differing levels of success. But especially when it comes to the media, you're gonna have when it comes to the media people, you're gonna have people of relatively extravagant success, especially compared to where their people are from, right? The country they represent, the ethnicity or whatever. You're gonna have these two wildly successful people, and one of them is gonna say America is racist, and the other one's gonna say America is not racist. And who are you gonna believe?
Yeah.
Like think about it. Who are you gonna believe? The guy who was up here, they're both wearing Armani suits. They both live in places you're not allowed to go. They both eat at restaurants you would never pay to go to. So they're both going to tell you that America is really hard on brown people. America is it just keeps brown people down all the time. I mean, who are you going to believe? Obviously, somebody's doing well, and the guy who's telling you he's been kept down, but he's, you know, Armani'd out and living at the nice place and eating at the fine restaurant, he's full of shit. And it's going to become harder and harder to sell that with more and more brown people who basically are relatively pro-America. It's a weird thing, I guess, to think about, but that's what black people are kind of up against when it comes to like the affirmative action thing.
Right, but okay, why don't we have the ability or wherewithal to view black people in the same situation as equally full of shit? Just like the way that you describe that the brown person from some brown country in an Armani I can't even pronounce the shit, in an Armani suit. Is that what you said? An Armani suit, eating at restaurants that the people that he want to vote for him can't eat at, trying to convince them that this country is oppressive, even though he fled a probably more oppressive country to come here and run for president. It's like, but it seems like to some degree that if people going to look at the Indian brown guy and call his bluff, it seems like bluffs should be called on many sides, including the black side. And what I mean by calling that bluff, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is an example of somebody's bluff getting caught. Hold on, here we go.
What do you mean, what does it feel like? You feel like a victim of white supremacy.
So you feel like a...
Hold on, here we go.
What does that feel like?
What do you mean, what does it feel like?
Does
I feel
it
like
feel-
a victim of white supremacy.
So you feel like a victim?
I'm a victim. I'm
And
a victim of white supremacy. Yeah.
And so are they holding you back financially?
Holding me back financially? Well, they can.
Are they?
They can.
Are they?
Tariq Nasheed is rich, just for those that don't know.
They can.
No, but are they?
They can.
Well, I didn't ask you if they could.
Can. If I get too powerful, yeah, they'll chop my stuff down just like they chop everybody else's stuff
Well,
down.
are they holding you back financially?
What do you mean are they holding me back? I'm in a prison called white supremacy that's global. So we're allowed, certain black people are allowed to have certain resources, but they know they can take it back.
Are they
from certain
holding
black
Tariq
people.
Nasheed back
Well,
financially?
I'm in a system where they can hold me back.
But right now they're not holding you back.
Well, they can hold me back.
Are they holding you back?
Define holding me back.
You don't know what, are they holding you back from being successful in your life?
Well, I'm successful because I understand white supremacy, and I'm successful as far as I can be, as much as I can be, because they can stop my success at the drop of a hat.
All right, that's what somebody getting their bluff called.
Now
Looks
imagine
like.
that. Imagine that. Let's say Trump or DeSantis picks Vivek as his running mate just to check the black card. Well, you know, the POC card, right?
Mhm.
So now you got a choice. You can still get a non-white person. So, you know, we're not racist. Look, we're giving a brown guy a shot, you know, pat myself on the back. And you can have a choice between the brown person who loves America and he thinks all this woke stuff is dumb. And, you know, he wants to say the Pledge of Allegiance and he wants to cut affirmative action and pull back some of this welfare and close the borders and all these things that are part of the left, right? You get a brown guy on the right who's saying all these things. But then you get a brown or you get Kamala Harris versus Vivek Ramaswamy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just so imagine that debate, that moment with Jesse Lee Peterson and Tariq Nasheed, replace those two people with Kamala and Vivek.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the choice, and that's not going to work politically. You're going to have to find something else better to sell. That's not going to win. I promise you, that's not going to win. And so the question now becomes, what does this mean for, quote, black politics?
Yeah. Machismo TV in the building says, great topic, bro. Hood conservative, good observation about Vivek and the aspirational politics. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Osama Abdu in the building says, used Armani suits are pennies on the dollar on eBay. Interesting. That's
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
That's a whole business. People shop at thrift stores and buy stuff, buy name brand stuff at thrift stores, clean it up if need be, and sell it. They selling it at the thrift store for $10. It's go to market for like $120. They buy it at a thrift store for $10, clean it up and sell it on eBay for like $55. That's like a whole business people got. But so I wouldn't be shocked if you could find an Armani suit in eBay. I mean, in a thrift store or somewhere for dirt cheap, and they just got it in there. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. But anyway, let's get back to the video. And shout out to Machismo TV. Forgot to even play the commercial earlier, but we're gonna definitely
to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
All right, shout out to Machismo TV. Make sure y'all go over there and subscribe to Machismo TV. But let's definitely get back into this video. All right. Hold on. What is this? All right, that's not what we put. Let me drop that and get this off the screen. Hold on. Hold up. All right.
Hold up.
Can everybody hear me? Hood, say something. I don't know if I even can be heard.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Why? Okay, why am I seeing a white screen? I have no
I
idea.
have no idea. It looks like something is frozen from that last promo you just played.
Okay, there it goes. It just came
All
back.
right, we're good. We're good.
And I don't know what I clicked to make it come back, but it was literally, yes, damn it, it did it again. Okay, I have no idea why the screen is going white. None whatsoever.
Everybody's getting hacked today. Oh god.
All right. So we should be good. All right. So let's let's get back into it. Will, hold on. Let me acknowledge some super chats really quick. Really quick. But shout out again to Machismo TV. Shout out to Osama Abdul. Shout out to True Hype in the building. Says, how do you square the circles of the people like Roland Martin who scream white supremacy, but still telling folks that they should have supported Hillary and disrespect King Randall? That disrespect of King Randall is certainly a moment that he probably wish he could have back, because even his audience turned against him on that one. But what's your thoughts? What's your take on it's a super chatted question that he's putting right there? How do you square the circle of the people like Roland Martin who scream white supremacy, but telling folks they still should have supported Hillary?
That's part of the Democrat magic spell. It's you have to kind of accept inconsistencies, like serious inconsistencies, to really stay a part of the Democrat thing. And maybe once upon a time it was a lot easier to not even see how inconsistent it was. Maybe it wasn't even inconsistent once upon a time, like with affirmative action. There's argument back during the time that they implemented. It was a more reasonable argument then, right? But nowadays not so much. And I think it's just the issue of the magic is just not as strong as it used to be. And so more and more people are starting to notice that, one, it's inconsistency, but it's a grand inconsistency. It's like not a minor thing that you complain about white supremacy, but you're friends with all the most powerful white people in the country. You actually support them politically. And don't forget, I forget, maybe was it on your show yesterday? Somebody mentioned, I forget where I heard this brought up recently. Somebody mentioned how when Obama was running, the black female position, especially, and basically the black position, was behind Hillary. Obama had to really defeat Hillary and her black supporters to get the nominee. And then once he got the nomination, rather, and he became the nominee, then he had full-throated black support. But yeah, a guy like Roland, he was in Hillary's camp before it was okay to be, in Obama's camp. Things like that, they get forgotten.
Damn, that's interesting. I'm actually looking it up right now. I'm just typing in Hillary versus Obama and the black vote. That's how I Google. I'm curious. I'm curious of how that really split. Like, because that's something that somebody could come online and say just talking shit. But I really want the numbers on that one. I probably won't be able to find it while we live.
It was the primary battle was probably more eventful and impactful than the actual presidential election for Obama. Because I don't even remember who Obama ran against technically. Who was it?
In the primary?
No, for president. That first time for president.
In general, for John McCain.
Was it John Kerry? John McCain.
No,
it was McCain. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a way easier match than Hillary.
Oh, absolutely. It was his fight against Hillary was so hard that John McCain had to go and just because he wanted all the disgruntled women mad because Hillary didn't win. That was how he basically made Sarah Palin a celebrity by nominating her, the governor of Alaska that nobody outside of Alaska ever heard of. He made her nominated her as a vice president. She didn't know shit, but but that was how she basically got into the political forefront. But to try to be the the person who, all the women mad because they thought they won, they thought they had their chance, and then let me just give you another, let me roll another woman out in front of you. She got titties too, and vote for her. That was basically what it was. So yeah, he went against John McCain and Sarah Palin as the running mate. But no, that Obama Hillary battle, that was definitely far more epic. Osama Abdu says BR, because like Obama beat McCain by a lot, actually, if I remember correctly. He beat McCain by a lot. But Osama,
it was decisive.
Yeah. Osama Abdu says, BR, you can get your first time for on eBay. He says, RIP, RIP, Kevin Samuels. No thanks. I have no desire to rock a Tom Ford. No desire to rock a Tom Ford. I buy blazers from Marshall Fields. It is what it is. Freeman's Journal in the building says black people are programmed to hate white. Find the most anti-white take, and that will be Roland Martin's position. Search King Randall on CNN.com and FoxNews.com. That will tell you why Roland Martin is anti-King Randall. No, I get why he's anti-King Randall, but that still was a terrible look for him. Terrible. Like nothing was worse than that. Even some of the most liberal of black people had to pump the brakes and criticize him for that one. Like going at this black man who has a school for black boys. It's just no. There was no logical justification.
It wasn't just that. Sorry, I'm sorry to cut you off like that. It wasn't just that. It was that white lady that he brought on there. And I think you played that interview on your show. I think we actually covered it together on your show. So he brings up this white lady who's like famous on the left for calling out white people's racism or whatever. And she gets confronted with King Randall. Oh no, it wasn't King Randall either. I'm sorry. No, this is actually a totally different story. I got these things mixed up. There was a different situation with Roland where he brings up this white lady. I forget her name, but she's talking to this young black Republican kid. He's from like Alabama or something. I forget his name. He's like really young, like in his 20s or something. And she's talking to this kid about politics and black stuff or whatever. And she basically said, "You aren't thinking like a black man."
He said, "You are not thinking like a black man."
This old white lady tells this young black kid, "You are not thinking like a black man," because he's
Jane Elliott,
conservative.
That's her name.
Jane Elliott.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the thing, it becomes at this point, you have this white woman on your show to talk down to this young black man because in her view, he ain't the right type of black. Like, that's like something from back in time. Actually, you ain't the right type of black.
Yeah, that's bad. And so Roland Martin brought her on, and he brought her on after that, or she said that on Roland Martin.
She said that on Roland Martin's show, and this was before I think the King Randall incident.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Yeah, that's why I would venture to say that it's some black people, they're probably not making no change or no major moves, but they're seeing the problem. They're seeing that just like there's a white Republican establishment. They just see white elite establishment. That's what black people see. They're realizing that there is that same white elite establishment is on the Democratic side of things as well. And they notice that there's a certain amount of pandering to that or massaging of that the black Democrats who want their, part of that, political power or influence, that they got to play ball with that. So they got to be on board whatever this particular group of white people is saying. So yeah, that's what they're starting to see with Roland Martin, So yeah, that's definitely a thing. But shout out to everybody, but make sure y'all hit the like button. Appreciate everybody who's supporting the stream. Was there more clips on deck or that we were going to get into?
Yeah, I just threw something in the back chat a few minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
This
Okay,
this
cool.
is
I didn't
another
see
one of
that.
Vivek. He was up in Philly. Vivek is. This is what I mean. Like, there's going to be a new wave of brown political candidates and activists and whatnot who, one, they don't speak the traditional black victimhood language, and two, they aren't going to be afraid to actually talk to black people directly because you can't necessarily call them racist, right? It won't hit the same as calling a white guy racist or calling a white
Now,
woman racist.
I was about my knee-jerk reaction was to tell me you sending me the wrong the wrong video because I was like, who is this Mexican here? I was about to say that.
Hey man, listen, it could be a Mexican next time around. Like, look, don't even get me started. Like, people in LA know the Mexicans don't give a shit about your black problems. They worried about La Raza and they trying to do their own thing right now. You're just gonna have to get with it over there.
Oh man. All right. Let's roll it. Let's roll it.
Pulling up on a street corner here. We're already seeing a lot of drug use on the streets. Old manufacturing buildings that have now been converted into wastelands. We're not running to lead a political party. We're running to lead a country here. Got to go to the whole country. So I'm going to be taking a walk today around town, taking a look around Kensington, seeing what we learn, talking about it later. But just arriving now, and we'll see how the day goes. All right, guys. So we're in the community here. What do you want to see by way of solutions?
For one,
What's that?
I want
Yep.
to see like help with better shelter, like open up more shelters, more rehab, more help with rehab. Because like everybody, we're not just gonna do it on our own. Like if we had the shelter, then maybe somebody take the mindset of going somewhere
Well,
else.
you just showed me a shelter that doesn't look very much like a shelter.
Yes.
You
No,
know,
it's a tent.
it's a tent.
They call them poverty pimps. Have you heard?
Yeah.
That's what the volunteer was just telling me.
Yes.
And
But they get the
that's
money, but they don't actually.
They don't get nothing.
They don't do much with it.
Even the lady in the shelter will fight you.
Yeah, sounds
bad.
like.
How we gotta live.
Can we stop for a second?
We sleep.
Can we pause? I need a moment to be an asshole. I need this, so forgive me. But
I almost did the same. Go ahead.
my dude is going after the dope fiend vote. Like, how brave is that? and Philly, he like in Kensington too. That's like the Philliest part of Philly. Like, bro, is going after
It's
the
so
dope
funny.
fiend vote so hard.
I didn't read the screen at all, but I just looked at this and knew it was Philly somehow. I didn't. I promise I didn't read the screen. I just was like, this looks like some Philly shit. They he's like, it's just drug use out here. They just. I'm like, okay, yeah. It's like I don't know why that Philly got that stereotype reputation. It's just parts of it where they just openly doing meth, like it's a social drug. It's like a cigarette now. They just out there just they just out there just doing it. It ain't even a thing. Yeah.
Hey, on a weird side note, you talk about social drugs and stuff. New York City has vending machines for drug paraphernalia, so you can get like your little kit or whatever, like whatever you need to cook or shoot your drugs, however that works. They're giving out vending machines, so for progress, y'all, progress.
Yeah, it's wild. It is wild.
Yeah, sounds
That's
like
bad. How we gotta live.
classic government corruption.
We sleep.
They pick who they want and who they don't want, and that's how you can't come in.
What's the number one drug that's a problem here?
Heroin
Heroin.
and ice.
Heroin and ice.
Drug that's a problem.
Did my man just pull up with a goddamn button? He had a blazer he got on. No undershirt.
And ice.
It's that Tom Ford.
He rocking that Tom
We're
Ford.
going to try to make a better country for all Americans. I'll do my best.
What
Listen,
shelter
it's
you
not
live
about. It's
Who
just
they?
one step at a time.
One step at a time.
You making that big step. I don't care about none of
Right,
it.
you're-
You're the underdog. Biden hasn't even walked through here.
Man, I don't buy your homelessness. If he like,
Is there such thing as a high value homeless nigga?
if it
Like,
is,
because
that's
there's
him.
levels to everything.
You have
There's levels to.
He got the Nike visor, the shades, the goddamn blazer with no undershirt and some jeans, man. He rocking that shit.
Like, look at him in the background. Like, he actually too cool for this, but I still want to be here though.
Yeah, support. I'm too cool for this shit, but I show my face. I show my face for support, but I did these y'all problems. I make this homeless look good now. This homelessness, y'all ain't doing. Y'all don't homeless like I homeless. Like,
I bet you he got bitches. He got a baby mama. She not even homeless or nothing. She just out there raising the kid.
You're taking the own incentive to go through each neighborhood and poverty, if it's bad or not, and see what you can do to better it. And I respect you for it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I got one for you.
Oh, man.
There's needles lying around in the streets everywhere. Sad to see. It's literally open air drug market right there.
Yeah, that was wild. He out there.
Well, here's another thing, and I know I kind of framed the conversation in a certain way. Are brown people taking black people's rights away? But that's just me being provocative. Here's another question, though: Are black people's political hopes better off in the hands of non-black people? Because, like, if you look at a guy like Vivek, so the whole clip between him and Charlemagne, right? I would probably go with Vivek's political vision over Charlemagne's any day. And then you look at, the whole Kensington thing, this little clip he's showing you right here. Like, at least he's out there in the mud. I mean, I don't think Trump went into to the dope fiends. Trump did not go to the ghetto and talk to the dope fiends. You know what I mean? And I fucks with Trump. I'm just saying. So I'm wondering. I'm just sort of trying to honestly ask the question: Are black people's political future better off in the hands of the non-black vote? Because the black vote the black politics doesn't really speak to this the same way.
It's good question. Good question. I'm still lost on him. I'm lost. I'm trying to I guess map out or figure out the political strategy of talking to the dope. The dope fiend like you said, trying to get the dope fiend vote. I don't think they vote. Housing for the homeless is a problem that you solve when you get in, but talking to them about how to better aid their homelessness, I don't know. Okay. I don't know if that's what gets you elected. It shows that you care. It shows that you care, I guess. At least presents like you care. But as far as black people, you're saying the question is, should they be better off with it? Will black people be better off in the hands of a Republican minority, a brown Republican versus white Republicans? Is that what you're getting at? What would probably be more better off for black people?
A brown Republican versus a black Democrat.
Oh, a brown Republican versus a black Democrat.
Right.
It depends on what you want. It depends on what you want. If that brown Republican, if you're a black person who looks at it like, the Republicans don't do nothing for us, then the black Democrat, if you think democratic policies are beneficial to black people, then the most black people are going to always lean that way. I think a brown Republican, brown in the context of the Vivek guy, I think he would have an added incentive. I'm just trying to go down this rabbit hole, this thought process. I think it will be somewhat of an added incentive for him to ignore black issues, sort of like how Republicans have always ignored it, but Donald Trump, subverted expectations a little bit because you didn't think that he was going to be doing, stuff for black people, but he ended up doing it. He ended up, getting some pookies out of prison. He ended up doing some things, and it was like, oh, Didn't expect that, but he could get away with it because he's still and all the people that get called racist, and he get called racist, and they're voting for him, and now they're all racist for voting for him and racist together. They get to all say, "See, we not racist. Look at us. He did this for black people, and we cheering him on for it." But does Vivek get that same, look what I did for black people? That then, I think the white people that he need to vote for him will probably look at him like, "Oh, you just a Democrat and Republican face." You see, I think they'll look at him like that. So I think he'll probably he'll probably try to avoid the race issues. He'll probably try to hide.
Well,
in that sense. You
no.
understand what I'm saying?
No, that's kind of the reason why I kind of focus on this guy. I mean, it's not just that I'm focusing on him. This is what he's doing, is speaking directly to black people. So he's not ducking the issue. He's just not kowtowing either. That's the difference. So like, what if he comes out with like a tougher on crime policy? It's going to be a lot easier to sell coming from a non-white person.
Yeah, I think, that's a good point as well. That's a good point as well. And then we end up having to go down the rabbit hole of, do the Republicans, the white Republicans who want all this tough on crime stuff, that's what they want, that's what they've been pushing for, maybe they could finally get it done if they get somebody in brown face to do their stuff for them, and now it don't look racist when they're doing it. You understand what I'm saying? Like that may be the Republican spin on it, or how people within the Republican establishment that's pushing for certain things, they may look at it like, "Hey, we gotta use these minorities too," and that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, remember, the Asians just fought affirmative action. That's been a long time Republican goal. I mean, what else will non-white groups push for that go against the black voting list? Not list, but all our desires and demands. Obviously, reparations is one of those things, and I don't think reparations will ever really be like a national thing. You might get some little things, and California is flirting with it the hardest right now, and that might even turn out to be a bust. But I don't know that other groups really want this to go down. So what happens when a few years go by, you get like Asian senators and stuff like that? Because as I understand it, California in particular has like a huge Asian population, just a lot of different types of people that are broadly speaking Asian. And what happens when their kids and grandkids grow up and they become politicians and judges and whatnot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Salty Balls in the building says, "What in the meth chick is going on with this?" Yes, presidential candidate who's in third place, but maybe a distant third on the Republican side of it, went to Philly to try to get the dope fiend vote, the meth head heroin addict vote, and so yes, that's what he was doing down there. We saw a high value homeless man out there too. It was interesting.
I think to be fair, he was just trying to highlight something going on, because you don't really see that sort of thing on the news, and you certainly don't see presidential candidates doing it. But damn it, what if the dope fiend vote is the vote that really puts him over the top?
Yeah.
Suck on my chocolate salty balls. Put them in your mouth. Put them in your mouth and suck them and suck them.
Shout out to Salty Balls. Do appreciate you coming on through. But all right. I think we're at a juncture. Yeah, we had an hour and 11-minute mark. We'll open this thing up, see if anybody wants to come up and have their say in this conversation. I shall put the link in the chat room. The link is now in the chat. While we do that, I'll get your opinion. I'm assuming you saw the video I played, or maybe you saw it on your own, of Joy Reid going off on your boy on your boy Clarence Thomas.
Nah, I haven't been able to. I've been locked out of my Twitter. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it was basically a 6-3 vote. Obviously, I mean, I know you know that part. It was a 6-3 vote. So it was a total of 6 people that she could blame. But Joy Reid on MSNBC, She had her whole 10-minute segment was going in on Clarence Thomas. That was it. She could have blamed 6 people for it, but no, I'm blaming this nigga. The whole abortion thing. It was a possible 5 to 6 people that could have been blamed. We blaming this nigga. It's like Clarence Thomas got in trouble he got blamed for the abortion. He got blamed for the affirmative action. It don't matter what go down. It's Clarence Thomas' fault. That as far as black women concerned, they own his ass.
I like it that way though. I want that to be like the thing. I want black women to know that a black man took your rights away.
Yeah,
and own that. Yeah, I'm going to stand proudly on that and shut up before I take some more rights away.
It's so funny. They showed in the on MSNBC when they was showing the clips of him. It was like while they was talking about him, they was just showing a bunch of flashing, rolling clips of him and everything. And it was one where he was looking, a younger Clarence Thomas was looking like Mr. from Color Purple in one of them pictures. And I just was cracking up laughing on the live stream when I saw that shit. I'm gonna try to pull it up. He was giving off a whole Danny Glover vibe while he taking away rights.
This is good. This is good. I was having a whole discussion the other day. This is totally non sequitur, way off topic, but I was having a whole discussion the other day about like black men leading the community and the whole gaslight about black men being the leaders of the community. And I was pointing out that, black men have a weird relationship with that whole leadership thing, because it's like if we as men see ourselves as leaders of the community, we can't also turn around and support women to be leaders themselves too. That doesn't work. It's never going to play out well in our favor. And so just once again, I was thinking about that with Clarence Thomas. Like, if you want to be the leader, you got to be willing to take their rights away. That's what the moment calls for.
Mm-hmm. Salty Balls back in the building. Salty Balls back in the building. He says 1/4 of a Lizzo's worth of coinage from the treasure chest raineth down from the ethers. Shout out to Salty Balls. Do appreciate you coming through, dropping $40 on it. Well, actually, I'm absolutely had to hit the $50 bomb drop on that one. Had to hit the $50 bomb drop on that one. Shout out to you. Do appreciate it. We are joined by we got Black Thought in the building. What do you say? What's your take on this one? Which, go ahead. What you got?
Good afternoon, Bernard and Hood Conservative. I believe that Hood Conservative, a lot of his points are correct. Number one, there is no black and brown coalition. There never has been. There never will be. We had the incident the other day in California where, what were those Hispanics saying about, what was it, another Hispanic representative that had a half black son or something like that? We had that incident in California. I'd like for one of you guys, if possible, to bring up a instance where you've had a Hispanic person, a LGBT person, a Indian person, a Asian person say we are allies with the black community. I would love for one of you guys to find that.
I can say that happens, but only people who are openly like on the left. You never hear that from your average, person with just a job in a factory or something like that. Like, no, only the political activist people say that type of stuff.
All right, I'm gonna start by saying,
All right, sir, hold on. I'd like to continue.
You gotta wait a second.
Yeah, there is there is no coalition with any of them. Us thinking that by somehow teaming up with these people, they're gonna have our interest is a trash idea, and it's only the idea of the old. It's only the idea of the old scare me by using the word racism thinking Negro. That's their idea. To be honest, they've already sold black people up the river with their voting patterns, because they don't truly want anything. They only want to be seen. They don't want anything tangible. They don't like tangibles. Tangibles are scary to them because then they have to actually put in some work.
Well,
And that's why,
when you say want, can you explain that? Who's the they? When you say they don't want, who are we speaking about?
oh, the old Democrat voting Negroes, the older Negroes. They don't want tangibles. Their thing is just see us and say we're here and give us a hug and a kiss, and we're fine with that. And that's been proven over many a years that is all they want. The older voting black base, because we know they're not majority Republican. So they are clearly majority Democrat. Again, as we know by the voting records. The voting records show that overwhelmingly 90% of these people vote for Democrats.
Another
And
handkerchief.
so we need to understand that, look, our interest is in our hands. No ally, no nothing, our hands. And also, we just kind of got to stop begging for stuff and play the political game the way it's to be played. We don't play the political game the way everyone else plays it. And that's why we're at a loss, because we're not actually looking at how the game is played and effectively playing it to get our needs met as
First of all,
Americans.
can I say
All right,
something?
Sonny Robinson, go ahead. You got the floor. You got the mic. What's up?
All right, first of all, I like to say, 20 generations as a black American coming from the Robinson plantations of South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? First of all, we gotta start voting with our feet, first of all. You know what I'm saying? We gotta take a stand. We can't put our faith in other people's hands. And people take our issues seriously, like how we take our issues seriously. Because first of all, they don't go through the same problems that we go through, and that we go through every day on a daily basis. Especially coming here as a black man. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a problem that's going on globally. They always attacking us by showing us that we are nothing good for nothing but handouts. Anytime they show a black person is always in poverty or he need a handout or something, first of all, we got to stop saying no to these handouts, because they taking that and dangling that in front of us and using that against us.
I was just going to ask you about that, because that's kind of the Democrat, especially black Democrats' platform, is to get you more stuff for free. So, we have to actually reject that.
The next situation is we got to start building ourselves from the root. We got to start building infrastructure in Africa. That's what we got to start building. Our brothers and sisters need us over there. And I ain't talking about just going over there, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I got a visa and just coming over there looking for a handout. We got to come back over there and build infrastructure. Like start building infrastructure in Western Africa, Eastern Africa, all points of Africa.
When you started out, hold on. When you started out, you said we need to, worry about our own stuff and everything. Now you're talking about going to another continent and building stuff in other countries and other continents. It's like that sort of,
right.
Flies in the face
right.
of what you was originally saying, right?
I disagree with that for the simple fact that, you know what I'm saying, if you're black, they go through the same problems that we go through. You know what I'm saying? I come from the time where, I was raised by
when they come over here, when they come over here, do they care about our shit?
Do they care about
what we go through?
But at the same time, that's media driven though. Over there, we taught that, one thing about Passport Bros that I learned, you know what I'm saying? It's showing me a side that the media don't want us to know. They want to keep us separated because it's divide and conquer aspect of looking at, divide and conquer. So basically they doing their best to keep us separated as much as possible. And, and I like to think.
I'm sorry. I wanted to cut in with something really, because I'm not like trying to get on you about pro-blackness or pan-Africanism or nothing like that. But I do want to point out, though, that like you opened up with, we are all different people, and I don't think that Black Americans are a people with Africans, because one African isn't quite a thing. There's tons of different groups within Africa who would rather be among their own people according to their like tribe or ethnicity or whatever in Africa. So I don't even know that our sense of Pan-African, hell, Pan-Africanism is not even an African creation. I think that's something created by Americans trying to go back to Africa.
But
I don't know that Africans really believe in that.
One thing I'm gonna say this. You know, to build on. I'm gonna say Malcolm X supported Pan-Africanism. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say that. Second of all, you know what I'm saying? One thing about white people, you know what I'm saying? They don't fall apart like Irish. You don't see Irish battling Ukrainians, or you know what I'm saying? Like, one thing about different tribes of white people, they don't separate. They all come together under one pretext, which is to come.
Sir, that is incorrect. I promise you that's incorrect. The history of the world the history of the Western world started out with white people battling it out, and they still hold those grudges to this day. So like the Irish and the British, they had a civil war that technically didn't really simmer down until like the 90s or something, because the IRA was out there bombing stuff. So like the idea that there's this grand whiteness that all white groups fall under, like, listen, Russia and Ukraine, they're fighting a war right now, but they've had, you know, ethnic difficulties for a long time. And so I don't know that we can really fall under that assumption. Just like I say Pan-Africanism isn't a thing, we can't then believe that pan-whiteness is a thing. There is no Pan-Africanism. There is no pan-whiteness.
One thing about white supremacy is real, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. You know, the same people that colonized us, the same people that colonized them over in Africa. I mean, you can accept it or not. You know what I'm saying? But we go through our problems that we go through,
even
because of supremacy.
Even that's inaccurate, because like you can actually name the countries there were only a handful of Western countries that had colonies. It was like the British, the French, the Spanish, and the Portuguese. Technically, the Portuguese were in it, but not really like that.
Brother Darkness, what they all have in common?
That they were all white. If that's what you want to hang on to, so be it. I'm not going to fight you on that premise. They were all white. It's just the idea that somehow they were all in it together. They were fighting each other for the rights to take territory. So like all this you know, black land that they conquered, they fought each other to conquer it. So it's not like they were working in tandem. That's not really how it went.
Okay, when they colonized Africa, they split it up like a pie. You know, they say
so they didn't have to fight over it. It was easier to be diplomatic because they were fighting bloody wars all over the place for other stuff. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I just think we're telling the story in a way that doesn't really accurately portray the reality of it.
All I'm saying is, brother, the problems that we go through over here, it's the same problems they go through over there.
I would like to get back on track of what we're gonna do here in America as Black Americans to effectively get what we need politically and where we need to be as Black Americans, because I think that's the discussion. I don't think there's a single African in any of those different African tribes talking about what are we going to do about Black Americans and how we're going to help them, this and that. That's just not happening at all. And I think we all know that. So it's time to think about the home team. And that was the discussion, the home team, which is Black Americans and all these other people claiming that they stand with us.
Well, can I expound on that? You know, first of all, you know, one thing about us, us as Black Americans, we are in a unique position. First of all, we can multitask. We have that power to multitask. You know, and the thing is,
we can't really multitask. Hold on, we're still crying here in America.
Brother,
so if you don't have your own home straight, how are you going to head into someone else's home?
Brother, my point is, what I'm about to expound on, if you let me finish my point, is that, first of all, I support Ice Cube. You know, I mean, I support him and the things that, and his talking points and the things that he's talking about the black contract and everything. And that talks about reparations and all that. You know, and I'm just saying, like one thing, I'm a black man, so I'm thinking black. Am I wrong for that? I mean, I think about us here all the time. And you know what I'm saying?
I think it's a little bit of a cop out, though. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think it's a cop out when you say I'm thinking black like that. That's almost designed to stop any thought further than that point. So you're thinking black, but what are the quality of these thoughts, right? That's kind of what I'm getting at. So when you say I'm thinking black, let me lay it out a little bit more. When you say I'm thinking black, right, and you talk about something like reparations, all right, let's imagine reparations it's a big bag of money that's going to be given cash payouts to each black person alive in America that's, a descendant of slavery, right? I'm not going to get any more specific than that because, obvious difficulties. I'm just making a point. Let's just say everybody who's, deserving gets some money. How does it help us and that bag of money to then include all these, quote, Africans into the bag of money? Because that's literally a part of the reparations debate happening, and I think it's in California right now. They don't know whether or not they want to include all black people, or it should just be, quote, FBA, meaning there's a direct lineage to slavery, which in my opinion is a more rational approach, but still that is the debate. And that's kind of the debate I lay out to you. Isn't that kind of diluting what we own and what we deserve as this unique black American group by including all of other people?
Okay, I'm gonna teach you something about old American history right here. Our last names dictate what type of jobs we used to carry. Like for instance, if you meet a person with a messed up last name, 9 times out of 10 he had a messed up job that he had to do. You know what I'm saying? A person with a respectable name, which means that he had a, he had a career as, he had a respectable name as his job, or if he had the slave master's name, that was mostly respectable too. But you know what I'm saying? Me personally, my recommendation is, start going by the name, start going by the last names and going by the names. And I mean, but at the same time, you got to think about the brothers in the Caribbean because they
I think you kind of lost the plot. It's just a simple issue of dividing resources. It's like, doesn't it mean we spend less focus on our problems by focusing on everybody else's problems just because they're kind of like dark skin?
Brother, ADOS is the truth. It's the way.
Right. So what's the point of singling us out as a unique group with a unique history if we're going to spend our uniqueness solving other people's problems?
We're not involved. ADOS speaks for itself. That's not involving other people. You're making it that point.
Pan-Africanism goes against ADOS. That's my point. When it comes to like black people in America having a political interest, that's what the whole ADOS thing is trying to protect. Then you can't really be Pan-African.
Brother, you're taking my personal views and you're switching up the content.
I'm saying, not really, because like, look, if you're going back to the content to invest in, then you're boiling the ocean at that point, right?
You just asked me my opinion about us here in America. I give you my personal opinion about us going, about us building infrastructure in Africa. And I'm just saying that us over here, you asked me about us over here, forget about them over here. So now you're trying to conflict, and you know what I'm saying, of the interest of what I'm talking about. And I'm not understanding where you're going here. Are you trying to confuse me or something, or try to make me seem like I'm not adequate because of some low self-esteem issue that you're having?
No, not at all. Not at all. No, bro, not at all. No, you misunderstand if that's what you have to think. No, what I'm trying to point out is that inconsistency. Earlier in the program, Bernard and I, we spoke about having these logical inconsistencies baked into the political positions we just are told to adopt. And I'm trying to highlight the logical inconsistency in this position. So when we talk about these other non-Black American groups coming into America, right, That even does include, quote, black immigrant groups, whether they're African or Caribbean or whatever, right? And my point is that the part of the reason we got into this problem is by thinking that everybody shares our interest and we should also spend our energy supporting their interests. That's the whole point I'm laying out, is that we cannot afford to spend our energy supporting other people's interests, and the reasons we've been told to do so are false.
Right. I hear you what you're saying. We do have to build ourselves because we are going through identity crisis, but at the same time, let's not forget that we are a young country.
Can I ask you a question?
Build this set in stone.
Are you a red-blooded Black American?
I mean, I try not to get too tribal. All I'm saying is this right here. I'm just a Black American that love my country. Been here 20 generations. I know what plantation I come to. My bloodline was here before America became America.
That's pretty red blood to me.
Okay.
I mean, just saying.
Okay.
I mean,
so I have a question. Have you been around Caribbeans to listen to them speak? Have you been around Hispanics to listen to them speak? Have you been around Asians to listen to them speak? Have you been around Africans to listen to them speak? Have you been in spaces with these people and listened to the way they talk about Black Americans? Well, because if you have, you would understand that they have no interest in any dealing with you, or you representing them, or them representing you, or even being associated with you. If you've ingratiated yourself with these people, you will soon realize they are anti-Black American to the fullest. And so I am not going to take my resources and say, let me help someone that will openly tell me to my face, I want nothing to do with you. And if I turn my back, they may also slit my throat. No, thank you. Because I've been around these people and heard what they say. They're not your friend.
You're right.
To be generous though, like I don't think it's anti-Black American. I think it's anti-nigga, for real.
I mean, I'm gonna say this right here. You know, first of all, there are character flaws within ourselves that, first of all, you know, build self first. You know what I'm saying? Self-preservation, I do promote that. But at the same time, on that same note, must I say, you gotta show people by your behavior that theirs need improvement. You know, and that's one thing, and that's a self-esteem issue right there. Because a lot of people is media fed. A lot of these groups are going off of media fed. We don't control our own narrative. Like the BET Music Awards was trash. We can all agree that, right? Can we?
Yeah, I didn't even watch that shit. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Even. I haven't watched it in so long.
I haven't watched that trash in many a years.
Yeah, Beyonce won't show up no matter how many awards they give her. You got old girl from, you know, Thoughtbot dancing, you know, with the gospel. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like twerking in front of the, you know, I forgot his name. I can't remember his name. But
Bobby Jones or something like that.
Yeah, she's dancing and twerking right in front of him, just so disrespectful. We don't control our own narrative. Hopefully,
we don't control the narrative. What you talking about?
No.
Right, that's the BET Awards, bro. Like, I don't know if I buy that either. And see, hold on,
she chose to do that.
Yeah,
you brought up actually a great point, but let me say this really quickly. When you talk about when we talk about these other groups competing with us, and that is something we also have to hold ourselves accountable to. Is when we, like in the sense of doing two things at the same time. Yeah, we have to get our own house in order. At the same time, deal with this competition issue from other groups, because having our house in order is not going to allow us to deal with the competition. You see how that works? Like, if we got this chaos going on the home front, we aren't even built to stand up to this political tide that's coming in against us.
You're right, and hopefully Tyler Perry can do something with it.
I mean, if you're looking at Tyler Perry,
did you just say Tyler Perry?
You're hey, I'm sorry, man. Like, but look, I respect the hustle, man. But But he did dress up in a dress, man. He did characterize it pretty
Yeah,
well in a lot of
listen,
ways.
Tyler can have BET. They can burn in hell together, bro.
Name me one Tyler Perry movie that presented the black man as a strong black man and not as the black man from Color Purple while he was in his dress.
I don't know. I'm not gonna touch on that situation.
There was one movie.
I'm just gonna see.
No, it was some where he was strong in the sense, but he was strong for that woman, that kind of
right.
Stuff,
No, actually, hey, if you're actually gonna go to the Tyler Perry, the one with the 3 little girls, where he was fighting the mother, that's the only movie. That's the only movie. But
other than that, the black man was a monster.
And then look, he needed a black woman to save him too. Like that's how the whole thing played out. A black woman terrorized him, and he fell in love with a black woman who rescued him. It was beautiful.
So again, strong black male.
The way that it normally plays out. Okay, so his very first one, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Yes, it was an abusive black man, but then it was a good one that that saved the day for, or even when I guess it depends on how you define strong. That's why I say it's strong for that woman. Like in the Why Did I Get Married, when Jill Scott had a boy that was treating her like shit, and then the one guy who walked with her and helped her lose weight, and the whole works like that. He was a strong man for that woman. So if you mean strong, just in that he was just a good kind, a good-hearted human being who did the right thing, then yeah. So that's what I mean by strong for the woman. So so in that sense, I mean those men, they weren't depicted negatively; they were positive, but positive only in respect to, is he doing right by a woman? So yeah.
Okay, I mean strong for the household, leading and making sure that things are together, not saving a black woman and then later simping for her. Like, well, I just mean strong black male leader for the household first, and then outside the household.
Brother,
Which Tyler Perry movie pushed that?
You ain't gonna get that from like most of Western media anyway, like black or white. The father's just the absent sperm donor, and maybe he puts in a little bit of money on his rent here and there. I mean, like we've neutered the family man. I mean, what's the
got that
male role?
Got that, but the brother said Tyler Perry, so that's why I'm just talking about Tyler Perry at this moment. I understand that the media in its entirety and movies and all of that has dumbed the black and white male down. Completely understand that.
I think that's actually another one of the reasons how we wound up in this position. So like this is more of a sort of grand argument, but like if you think about the male role in a society or group compared to the female, men are just more naturally on the lookout for threats and danger. And I think as we move into a more feminine kind of politic where, like coming out of like the 70s with the Panthers and all that, it was pretty much the rise of black female politics. And black women weren't really worried about this sort of competing immigrant group problem the way men would be. Because men are always going to be on the front line of that type of stuff. Like, we're going to lose our factory jobs and our automobile making jobs and all kinds of blue collar stuff. That's where the competition really starts happening first when it comes to these immigrant groups, right? But the women will vote for that kind of stuff because they're going to get their other goodies at the same time. They'll get their little government job and they can work for the bus company or something like that. They can work in the office. They can work in HR. But the guys who got to go out and dig holes and turn wrenches, they got to compete a little bit harder. And I think, like I said, having this whole feminine politics kind of it took our eye off the ball.
Yes, and that's what it's designed to do. You know what I'm saying? Feminism actually breaks up black families. You know what I'm saying? It does, because you look at it. I mean, you look at it like this. One thing about feminism, what does it promote? Independence of a woman. And what is the nucleus of family? The father and the mother. If you don't, you need the right hand and the left hand, and together they wash the face.
Here's what I don't get about that whole debate, right? How are you going to be independent when men see interdependence is a necessary thing? Men understand the value of like, you know, community and all that stuff.
You know why? You know why? Because first of all, the reason is because of the job situation and the manpower. You know, they don't have the manpower to support the growth. So they gotta keep black families divided. Same thing with welfare, all that. Like if a female get on welfare, like I know a family that went through a rough time and they got on welfare, and she made $100 over the limit of welfare, right? And they told her that they couldn't help her because her husband was in the house, right? And they just felt on a little rough times. And you know what they told her? Kick the husband out and put him on child support, then we'll help you. Ain't welfare supposed to help it's supposed to help you when you're down? That's the ideology of
No,
welfare.
it's supposed to actually put the man in some type of little box, so he's going to be more restricted than he otherwise would be.
Right.
It's more about punishing the man than it is actually doing anything about the family.
That's a
Right.
fact, conservative.
Yeah, and that breaks up the nucleus of a family. You get the man out the house, like you watch it when they killed the male gorilla silverback off. And the kids, look at the kids, they just run wild. Man, they just run wild. And the same thing that's going on, like with that type of thinking is going on with us. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
And
I want to
we're being separated out of our family, is basically what I'm saying.
I want to point out another like misconception. I think that we've been told as a country where like we need these different groups of immigrants to come in and take these jobs because our population just isn't growing fast enough, right? If that were if that were really true, then the government wouldn't spend efforts with stuff like you just said that has the effect of shrinking our own population. It's one thing to say that look, something happened. We had after World War II, Britain invited a bunch of people from like their colonies to come into the country because they wanted more labor and manpower. That's one of the reasons why you got a bunch of black British people, and that's a little bit more understandable than we're going to implement all these little things that have the effect of lowering family formation, which therefore lowers the birth rate, then abortion, then you have women working when they could be making families. All that stuff has the effect of lowering the population growth. And your solution to that is to bring in other people. I don't think that's a proper solution, and I think it's the type of solution that makes me feel like you did this on purpose.
Right. And the thing is, the goal is to wash out blackness out American history. Like they're changing the history books on right before our eyes.
Well, the goal is to really wash out the native population because they're doing
Right.
this across Europe too. Like,
Yeah,
so,
this
All
is
right.
what's
bigger
going to
than
be
black.
easier to take over?
It's bigger
Somebody
than
that
black,
has
I promise you.
go ahead.
No, I said it's bigger than black. That's all. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say like it definitely is bigger than black. So like, what's easier to take over? You know what I'm saying? A population that has like, a rich history, a care, a united front. You know what I'm saying? Some pride. Not the June 30th pride, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right. Think about no. The brother who's speaking who said he can trace his lineage back to a plantation. Right. That's
You said
actually
20 generations to the plantation. Okay. All right.
Yeah, 20 generations back to the plantation.
The Robinson plantations in South Carolina, abusive.
So right, and so the point I'm bringing up is that we listen. All the negative, dark things and the ugliness aside, that is a culture. That is a history. You have literal ties to the soil. When people say stuff like, when those Nazis, so-called, say stuff like blood and soil, you can now make that kind of argument. You have blood ties to that soil, and it's not going to be the same thing when other people come wanting ownership of the soil that you actually have blood ties to. It's a whole different kind of argument as to what they think should be done on this soil that you have ties to, and that's the sort of thing that you're up against too. You don't really get to have that kind of conversation because politically it's taboo to talk like that. But that's really what's going on here when they say replace the native population.
Why?
All right, we're gonna pass it. We're gonna pass it to Little Big Nate. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. You have the floor. You have the mic.
What up, Bernard? Hey, gentlemen, how y'all doing? I had a question for the gentleman that with the who's that character from Little Rascals again?
Buckwheat.
Buckwheat. My bad. Buckwheat. the gentleman that kind of leans to the pro-black side, kind of leans that way. I want to know from you, what is a more damaging, debilitating, and dangerous foe to the advancement of the black men that want advancement? First, we have to acknowledge that there's some black men that are just trash. They're garbage. They sit around whining and crying all day. They'd rather march in the street behind black women than actually, participate in this free market system, get busy competing, trying to win. Fuck them niggas. I would like to know from you, sir, what is a more dangerous foe for the advancement of black men that are actually invested in this country and actually care? Is it white racism or is it black feminism? It can't be both. One is a more dangerous and debilitating foe for us. Again, not black men, because I never talk about black men, because we can't talk about black men. We can only talk about the black men that are invested and that give a fuck. We can't drag dead weight with us anymore. No other race drags its dead weight with them except us. Let the dead weight lay and rot in the sun. Fuck them. But when it comes to the black men that are actually trying to participate in this country, trying to win, what is a more dangerous foe to us? Or maybe I'm not listing our most dangerous foe. What do you think is the most dangerous foe? And if it's a choice between black feminism and white supremacy, which is more dangerous?
I'm gonna say single motherhood and not being a father to your kids.
That's the most dangerous thing to the advancement of black men.
Yes, absolutely. Because first of all, because
wait, hold on, back up. He gave you a one or the other. Those other two things were things that's hold on. Those two things were things that were problems, but he wanted one or the other of the two that he gave. Which one is worse?
I'm gonna say black feminism.
Because
they're doing the work of white supremacy.
No, I don't know that it's not white supremacy, it's white liberalism, sir. Whites on the right don't promote black people not having two-parent households. Believe it or not. And again, I'm not caping for white people on the right. I've never said that white people on the right like you. Please don't put those words in my mouth. I said they don't hate you. I'm not talking to you personally, sir. I think this is the first time I've ever talked to you. But there's people who say, oh, well, you say white. I've never said white people like us. I've never said white conservatives like you. I'm the guy that told you to stop caring about if people like you. But the question becomes, it's not about white supremacy. Our enemy for the last 200 years in this country has been the white Democrat, not the white man. I'm sorry, bro. White abolitionists, the people fighting against enslavement, the people fighting for emancipation for blacks were white Republicans. There were some white people fighting to free you. Again, I'm not telling you to go hug a white person. We just have to acknowledge the truth of history. Yeah. The white Democrat has been our enemy,
but they're in
not so much the white man. Sorry.
Well, let me. I want to sort of explore this white supremacy thing for a minute, right? How does it serve white supremacy to become a minority in this country?
We talk about control and not two different things.
Yeah, but it's actually difficult to have control when the numbers don't work as well as in your favor. But and also if we're talking about voting or whatever stuff, just American politics, it's hard to imagine white supremacy actually wants all these other non-white groups in here. And even if we were to let's not even try to defeat white supremacy as an argument. I just think that in the future, white supremacy is going to be less of a obvious go-to issue because there are going to be so many other groups that are going to be thwarting whatever black thing that people are trying to do. The white people will be so much not your problem at a certain point that you can't even talk about white supremacy. Like when it comes to the immigration issue, how is that a white supremacy thing if illegal immigrants are taking jobs that black people should be getting?
Dilution.
They're diluting their own jobs too, though. It's not just that. It's not just that.
Game. Supremacy is a numbers game, bruh.
Right. It's not just that black people are losing.
It is a numbers game to an extent.
No, it's a numbers game. Period.
It's levels to
an extent. You need the numbers for supremacy.
system though? Who control the system, bro?
Small hats do.
Hey,
small
class.
hats control the system.
Hey, class. It's a class thing. It's not a race thing. Like they can give a shit about that.
Yeah.
They'll have the meat packing plants full of like Mexicans or whoever the low class totem pole people is, and they'll have like the computer programmers be the dots and not the feathers. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
fair enough. But all at the same time, the same way factories close in Detroit, and there's like a lot of black people who lose a job. There's factories in other parts of the country where there's mostly white folk there, and they lose the job too. And the point I'm bringing up is that when these things happen, this is bigger than just a simple black white supremacy type of thing going on here. So I don't think we're really getting to the heart of an issue by just falling on white supremacy as a catch-all explanation, especially when all these other groups are rising at the same time. It's just not working, and we can't go forward into the future with this paradigm that probably didn't even work in the past.
And this is the same. This is the same arguments. And no offense to the gentleman, but these are the same arguments niggas would hear in the back of black bookstores after they closed at 9 p.m. back in the 90s. The same commentary. We got to evolve. You got to come out of this shit.
On the walls, brother. The blood is still on the walls. They're the same problems they went through in the 60s. It's the same problems we're going through.
No, they're not the same problems, sir. They're not.
They're the same problems. Filter
They're
out.
not the same problems.
There is the same problem.
Who's holding black people back, sir?
Yeah. No. Explain to us. All right, if there's the same problems, let's go through it.
Let me know.
Huh?
No, explain to us.
It's a combination of everything, bro.
That's not an answer. A combination of everything means nothing.
Can I clarify?
Go ahead.
Yeah, please.
Can I clarify? I mean, you got education, you got economics, and then you got the psychology, mental health. I mean, like, come on, of the trauma that we have went through.
Stop it. Stop, please, sir. You got to stop with this. The trauma we've been through.
Hey, Nate. Really quickly, like what I would address with that whole trauma thing, we are causing more trauma to our children.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, straight up, like people were stronger back in the 50s and 60s. They could deal with more because their mindset was different. You think somebody that lived through the Great Depression, you know what I'm saying, would just crumble because somebody said something mean to them on the internet? Like I saw somebody crying the other day because over debate, they were wrong and they cried, and it was a black male. I'm like, yo,
there was a dude who actually went to the emergency room. This is made a newspaper story. He actually went to the emergency room because he lost a little simple debate. And then how do we weigh our so-called trauma? And we're not even talking about slavery per se. We're talking about like in the 50s, back in the civil rights era. But my thing is, how do we weigh that against people who like literally sailed here on we joke about it, but the banana boat, right? Somebody whose trauma involved like hiding their family in a hole in the jungle for a couple of days. So they had, until it was safe. Like there's levels to this trauma game. And I don't think we really want to play the victim card game with these group of immigrants. That's not going to fly.
Well, not even that. I know a story of a family, right, where their grandparents actually had to smother one of their kids, like when the North Koreans came and invaded in Korea or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They had to kill their baby so they could survive, so the people would not hear them while they were hiding. And there's many stories like this across like the globe.
Brother, Emmett Till, brother. Let's talk about that.
No, but I'm not comparing struggles. I'm just saying, yo, this is bad. That was bad.
Can I say something? The only reason why majority black people think that we're still fighting the same fight from the 60s is because they're constantly being told that it's the same fight. Right now, well, they're told by white liberals. Right now, you have black people talking about voting rights, right?
Oh my God.
There is not a single black person that's being held back from voting. Then they started with this, right? And see, this is where black people don't think and they just follow and they don't pay attention and they don't leave their neighborhoods. That's a huge problem.
I mean,
This whole
Like,
voting thing,
if
right?
I
Let
could
me tell
chime
you,
in real quick.
this
I've been
whole
overseas
voting thing,
hard.
right? Here's the thing. Voter ID is racist. Let me ask you a question, right? They're telling you voter ID is racist because black people can't get to the DMV. Do these people understand, right? And this is for the black people. Do you understand that black people in the Midwest, the kids start driving at 16? Not all, but most. They start driving at 16. That means they have the ID to vote. In 2023, if you don't have an ID to vote, you bothered not to get your ID.
Hey, here's a question towards that. Is getting ID like when you have to buy your liquor? Is that racist too?
Yo, of course it's racist. And bro, you bring up Emmett Till. How many black people have been butchered, slaughtered, murdered, strung up by black people since Emmett Till? Are those black people's lives not as important as Emmett Till's? Because Emmett Till was killed by white people. It's brothers who come down thinking similar to the way you do. And again, I'm not trying.
What
to
about
let me finish.
What
bro.
about the breeding slave farm?
Please let me finish.
For black women.
Please let me finish. I'm not trying to be insulting to you, but you are the white supremacist, sir. Because the only time guys like you seem to get upset about Black Death is when white people do it. Why are white people and what they do so important to you?
Wow.
I don't understand this.
You got
I'm more offended. I'm more offended when black people kill I'm more offended when black people kill black people than when a white person does it. It's more insane to me when black people kill black people. And I know what you're going to tell me. Well, the white man got black people killing black people. No.
Wrong answer. You're judging.
Oh, no, we judge over here, sir.
Hold on. I don't think it was really.
Everybody.
It wasn't so much about the Emmett Till thing, or even when you mentioned like the slave breeding farm, and these things happen. So it's not so much to take it away or sweep it under the rug. We can have history classes and all that and talk about these things, right? The point in bringing it up is that why do you think anyone from these new immigrant groups, even the Pan-African immigrant groups that we'd invite over here, why do you think they care about slave farms? You know, I did a show months ago where they're opening up some sort of like basically an amusement park. It's a slavery amusement park. I'm being a little bit tongue in cheek, but it's not. I think they're gonna have a roller coaster too. Like, dude, they don't think about this stuff the way we do.
I got it.
You got it.
All right, hold on. We gotta pump the brakes real quick. Kenneth Williams in the building with the $2 super sticker. Thank you for that very much. I do appreciate that. And we got my man Sir Tice, who just hopped on the panel, says True Hype just said a bomb about how sensitive the collective has gotten. Sadly, men are using even the weak language, systemic equality, legacy,
equity,
etc. Equity, legacy, etc. Thank you for that. Do appreciate it. And one more that just came across right now. Sick with it, yo. I think I said that right with the $2 super sticker. Thank you for that. Greatly appreciate that. We actually going to pass it to Sir Tice, who just super chatted. Oh, and also, hold on. Mute up for one more second, Sir Tice, because me and you be having background. Some reason I get an echo when I'm talking to you, but also thank you very much to trying to pull up the brother who somebody just sent a cash app that was Mean Run Enterprise earlier sent a $10 cash app. Thank you very much for that, Mean Run Enterprise. Do appreciate that. Appreciate everybody who's supporting the stream. Hit the like button, all that good stuff. Go ahead, Sir Tyson. You got the floor. You got the mic.
Happy Saturday. It's only when I'm on my computer. I'm on my iPad right now. Again, happy Saturday. Salute, Chad. What up, Nate? Hood, True Hype, to the brother with the Buckwheat icon. I don't know who's in the M, but salute to you.
Black Thought.
What's good, Black Thought? And salute to the chat. So I didn't hear the entire show, but Hood had touched on something that I heard before I had to go into the grocery store. He had said something about the CBC and basically he was talking about the immigrants thing, right? And basically how they don't, they didn't send any one of their representatives in New York, in Chicago, whatever, to say, hey, this is wrong, because they know what their marching orders is, right? And I just want to kind of build upon that in that we got to get past, brother with the buckwheat icon. This is no diss to you. I get it. I used to be you 30 years ago, in the sense, we got to get past this white supremacy stuff. Okay. Nobody is supreme over you. If that's what they call themselves. All right. So we got to get past of calling it as, using it as an adjective, acting like just because they're white, they're somehow got money or in control. Now, when Nate had mentioned about the small hats, yeah, that's definitely one. Or at least say the globalists, or at least, well, what do you call the Rockefellers, the Standard Bell? What do you call those guys again? Not the founding fathers. There's a term you call those guys. But let's,
and all like that.
yeah. Those are the people I'm talking about. But and I'm bringing this up because this ties into what Hood said. There's something. I have been literally writing black congressman things, and I think I got my name on some kind of a blacklist right now about this. I was reading this infrastructure bill, right? Yeah, sometimes I get bored and I'll do things like that. Man, that infrastructure bill, that Biden celebrated that he passed, right? And people think, oh, it's about fixing the bridges and all this. Nate, you still on there? Yeah. Nate, is that bill not filled with a shit ton of pork?
It's mostly bullshit. It's mostly environmental shit.
Yep, that bill is trash.
And most importantly, though, there was a provision where black farmers got something within due to COVID relief. Do you know that was taken out of the bill completely? So the black farmers are in the cold, yet black representatives are not saying shit about this. And these farmers are trying to raise hell. And guess what's going to happen? They're still going to vote for this piece of shit. That's what I don't fucking get. It's like we love voting against our own interests. Because, I hate to paraphrase Nate, because, well, they don't like us. Okay, let's stop. And I'm going to shut up after I say this. Here's the number one complaint I hear. Well, when you point out the flaws of the Democrats, here's what comes, and here's what's going to come with the Black Brain Trust, because I'll listen to their shows or whatever when they're critiquing the shows over here. They will go over, but what do the Republicans do? It's not about what they do, or if they like you per se. In the Republican Party does not. Nate, you could probably explain this a little bit better than I do. They don't say, hey, black people, we're going to give you this if you give us your votes, right? That's not what they do. What they do is they look, we're going to make the environment friendly. And when I say environment, I don't mean just the environment. I mean legally and things like that. That allows you to do what you do without the way of government and things like that. Whereas the Democrats say, hey, $10,000 for loan, we're going to cancel all student loans. Oh, no. It's going to be $10,000. Oh, shit. Damn, it got voted down by the Supreme Court. Oh, them mean old conservatives. How dare they make black people pay back, or people, how dare they make people pay back money that they willingly took out, right? So I guess the point is that we just love staying so politically ignorant. It's no wonder that our vote in 2 years is not gonna matter, quite frankly. And we better pick a team. And yes, I'm going there. And I'm gonna clarify this. Black people used to be the second minority. We will soon be the fourth. And then by 2040, we will be the fifth minority. And these people who are coming in illegally and things, they're gonna take over the community. And basically, it's gonna basically just suppress the black vote. So it's pretty much over, niggas. Thank you.
And let's be honest, Tice. All these illegal immigrants coming in, like FD Signifier said, they will be our allies against white supremacy, along with the homosexuals.
No. He said our gay brothers and sisters, sir. Get it right.
Oh, so our gay brothers and sisters and a bunch of illegal immigrants are going to be our allies against the white man and let's just be honest, this white guy, we're much more familiar with him. We know him. We've been here almost 500 years dealing with him, but you'd rather bring in all these goddamn illegals. And your Democrat Party politicians in DC, they're trying to give illegals the right to vote. Part of Turn Texas Blue initiative was giving illegals the right to vote.
Not just vote, Nate. Not just vote. They're gonna have them as police officers and military officers now.
Oh,
so
that's good.
you're gonna get arrested by people who barely speak your English and don't even live in your country technically.
Not to mention when you listen to these people. Not to mention when you listen to these people, they're anti-black. So they are going to do things that are against your interests. But let's vote for it. Roland Martin screamed at black people and said, "You better vote for immigration."
Yes.
No,
Hey,
like
hey Bernard,
mostly
let me just tell Bernard something real quick. I just put a link in the back chat. I mentioned the slavery theme park, and it took me a second to go dig the clip back up. But yeah, I put a clip up, and this is like a tourist promo of it. So yeah, when we talk about Africans and slavery, I promise you, they don't have the same tears about slavery that we do. They just don't share that connection. I mean, the buyer and the product don't have the same relationship to the process. You see what I'm saying? So they don't think about it like we do. They're making money off of our so-called pain right now. So I would caution you about spending your energies pan-Africanly.
African slavery is different from American slavery.
Yeah, that doesn't really change the argument.
Yeah, it's in some aspects it's worse.
Yeah,
like
all right. Real quick, y'all. Not Sir Tice, but Hood Served. If you got a clip in the back. I was up walking away, so I kind of missed where I was at, but I could see that you got a clip ready to go.
Yeah, that is. I was making a point about the African slavery theme park thing that they're trying to build. I don't know if it's actually been built yet. This is sort of like a promo clip, but it was interesting. They're going to have all kind of cool stuff so you can celebrate your slavery.
Celebrate your slavery. All right, I'm about to play it.
Very insulting.
And apparently Benin was like a major slavery port, and this is a famous road. It's like Route of Slaves. This is French, Route de l'Esclave. It's literally Slave Avenue.
What's this?
And this right here, pause for a second. This is the seaside slavery resort right here. This is what they're this is their proposal to, I don't know if it's celebrate is obviously an insulting word, but I'm not the one building paradise on slavery tears, bro.
Hold on a second, Hood. Hold on. Quick questions just for context. This is current, or is this legacy that they're building this land on? Help me understand.
What do you mean current?
Now is what we're watching. Is this a modern development, or is this what it used to be?
No, this video is about 2 years old. I did a show a couple of months ago when I heard about this, and basically they were proposing this. I don't know, resort is probably the best word, a slavery tourism resort. And so this is a new modern proposal. And like I said, Benin apparently was a major slave trading place at its time. And they had a whole history. So they got, already have a certain level of tourism to people who want to go and learn about that end of the slave trade. But what they're proposing here is, look at this, artisanal village. I don't know what they're going to make in the artisanal village. I'm not even going to make any jokes. But they have a voodoo arena over there. So God only knows what the white people are going to watch the black Africans do in the voodoo arena. But I want to see how that plays out. And then there's all this nice beach property. And
so this is on the continent?
This is in Benin. This is on the continent. This is like West Africa.
Oh, so China's building this.
Huh?
They might be. Who knows?
No.
When you put it that way, I know what you mean.
No. You can't make the assumption that everything in Africa is owned by China, because China is only in about 5 or 6 countries. But because
are they in West Africa? Yeah. Hey, sir, hold on real quick. Sir Tice, I think you got YouTube or something on in the background.
I do. That's my bad. Hold on a second.
All right. No, I mean, it's a fair question if it's one of the African countries that that the Chinese people are in. But so I mean, either way it go, that's worth investigating. Who the hell is building this? Who would build this? Why would they build this? Like, what the fuck? Like,
Those are the questions, sir.
When it comes to these African countries, the government is involved probably from start to finish, because how it works places like that. So I doubt that it's like a secret deal. Like, everybody's involved.
All right. L.A. Wilkes says, L.A. Wilkes, Thin Black Line says, Lil Big Nate and BT, I don't know who BT is, taking up for I think that's Black Thought.
Black Thoughts.
Okay.
Hey,
Lil Big Nate
ask
and
him to
Black
come up.
Thought. Lil Big
No,
Nate.
it's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke, dog.
Little Big Nate and Black Thought taking up for the white man again. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that.
It's sarcasm.
That's my bad. That's my bad.
You can't make this up.
I think what Little Big Nate was saying is come up on the panel if you have something to say. You definitely are welcome to speak your minds and challenge them on whatever they're saying. But
Tell LA Books to come up. I'll slaughter him in a debate.
yeah. All right.
My thing is, I'm just, if to the gentleman with the buckwheat avatar, if we're going to get rid of white supremacy, which seems like just the absolute preoccupation with pro-blacks, you're going to have to get rid of it in your mind. Because as a guy who knows more white conservative men, just for the nature of the business that I'm in, I deal with white conservative men.
I tell you what, you're a handkerchief waving. You're the handkerchief waving type.
Yeah.
I'll never forget where I come from, because that's how you know.
No, you don't even know where you from, sir. Nate, stop. Sir, where are you from?
I'm waving a handkerchief.
No, hold a second.
I've produced more men than you ever will.
Nate.
I've produced more men than you ever will if you live 100 years.
Let's not turn this to a battle. Let's not make this a battle.
All right. Okay. All right. Real quick.
You're the white supremacist.
No. Don't take the argument that way.
You're the white supremacist, nigga.
Kids first.
Nate. Accept it, and just walk it out, sir. What makes him? I'm going to ask it. What makes him a handkerchief wearer? What did he say? What did he say?
Before that, let's define the term.
The handkerchief,
hold a second, sir. Hold a second. Let me finish my question. What did he say that gave the impression that he's caping?
Hold on, real quick, y'all. Real quick. I would like to define the term. What is a handkerchief waiver? All right. Somebody
that's been broken. First of all, somebody that's been that's in denial,
waving the white flag of surrender.
Right there, laughing at the truth. That's handkerchief waving.
Okay.
I tell you what,
okay,
I gotta
go.
I gotta go to
but where's
the head of the manosphere meetup is broken.
I gotta build, man. I gotta build myself.
Hey, Bernie, let me back up. I'm gonna drop and come right back.
Okay.
Hey, that is very, very interesting, and I hate, and I am going to say the word hate. I hate when people psychoanalyze people from the clouds. Like, they hear like one little snippet and they know everybody else's life. I'd heard people say it on your panel before, Bernard, like about Game Changer and everything else, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy, man. Be like, yo,
you got to let me address this. And I'm not going to wild out. I'm not going to wild out. You got my word. I want to address who's broken, okay? Because I filed for divorce in 2004. I fought for and got full custody of my 2 children. I put on, along with Tice and Theo Wolf, put on the Manosphere Meetup, the first and largest gathering of Black men from this space in the December of 2021. Almost 100 Black men met my son. My son is studying to become a professional mixed martial artist. My daughter is stunningly beautiful. She does fashion, and she ain't out here destroying herself. We're putting on the Mano Meetup at the end of this year, and I'm broken. Nigga, run down the litany of shit you've done. I'll wait.
Can I say something? I said this.
I want you to tell me what you've done in life.
He's not on the panel. He left.
Tell me what
left.
you've done in
Nate,
life.
Nate, calm down. Calm down. He's gone.
He's left.
Hold on, Nate. It's me.
Fucking
Hold on, Nate.
pussy.
It's me, Black Thought speaking.
You fucking pussy. What do you leave for, nigga?
Nate,
Let's line up our accomplishments, nigga.
Nate,
Let's go.
Chill, Nate.
You said you wouldn't. You said you wouldn't wild out, Nate.
Machismo, you got that one? Machismo, you got that?
So can I say something? Because I said
trash. They get up here, they pop shit. They pop shit against the men that are actually building. Men who lean to the political right are in this space actually building. There's multiple men putting on events, men who have IT schools. Some do it for fucking free. Some do it for a fee, but they're building black men, and bitch niggas who get on panels crying about the white man got nerve to have fucking criticisms of us. Run, nigga, run. You're a coward. All you do is talk about the fucking white man. He's in your asshole. He's in your brain. You're a bitch. Get the fuck away from us with your poison thinking, nigga.
Hey, that's a clip right there.
Can I say something? I said this on Thursday night on the porch with the blacks. Here's the thing, right? I said this. Anytime a black person is not, a black male especially, is not balled up in the corner talking about scary white supremacy, black people, effeminate black men then come up and say, see, man, you don't know, and you dancing for the white man. Because they want to see you balled up in the corner, scary of white supremacy. That's their version of being black, given to them by the white liberal. That's why he come up here and said that, because he wants to see black men constantly crying over white supremacy. And then they often say, well, you want to act like it don't exist. No, we all understand what goes on. We just continue to stand up as men and do what we got to do without the crying.
Honestly,
and that's the problem with these dudes.
From the very start with him, I honestly thought he was a troll, but I just let it rock because he played right on that edge. And he did make a lot of arguments that some people legitimately hold, but I think he was just trolling, if you want my opinion on the guy.
Dude, bro, there's tons of black men that
No.
I know. That's why I let it rock.
I think it was genuine. I think he was genuine too. Yeah, to call it a troll is to sort of mischaracterize. I think that's because his position isn't uncommon. It's super common.
I know.
Yeah,
hold on, that's the point that
30, 40, 50% of black men think like this.
Hold on. That was the point I was also trying to make, is that he said the reason I thought he was trolling because right out the gate he said a few things that didn't even fly against that sort of flew against each other. And he was just throwing a bunch of spaghetti against the wall to just see what they do. I know. Hold on. He was just throwing a bunch of spaghetti against the wall to just see what would stick. So I thought he was trolling. However, the things that he was saying, I even if I think somebody is trolling, if there's arguing points that I know a lot of people actually hold legitimately and seriously, I let it rock out, because the stuff that he was saying, people do take that position. He may be one of them, he may not. But people do take those positions that the guy was arguing. So yeah,
I didn't hear too many of his positions. And Nate, I'm gonna say this: it's gonna go on deaf ears. We know because you have that wild, what is it, WND, whatever, And Nate, I think a lot of people are coming up here because they know that they can poke and prod you, and and they know that you got a couple buttons or whatever. One is your children and those things. But that said, I didn't hear too much because I literally joined when I joined the panel. But what I was trying to do was, these guys are, like I said, they're triggered by certain words, but notice that they're very slim on specifics. They will not give you, or they will name you. What about when Trayvon Martin got killed? They'll find the one random thing that made the news and such. So it's like, when you can really undress them by just asking them questions. That's what I was hoping to do. But the fact that he left tells me that maybe it was a troll.
Well, Sir Tice, what they do is they come up here wanting to be Democrat light. They don't want to fully
tell you I'm not a Democrat. Black
thoughts. They don't fully want to step in it because they understand what panel they came to. But when you really undress it and listen to them, it's all Democrat babble.
All of it is.
Yeah, but I'm like from the beginning though. This dude was talking about boiling the ocean, right? And I'm like, is your household taken care of? Like that. That's what you got to do first.
You're
Then you
dropping
can
some
discuss.
bombs.
Then you can discuss like micro lending and like all kinds of other stuff.
Black thought, there is no personal household in Marxism. Everything is collectivist. There is no personal property. There is no personal family that belongs to you. The women, your property is all community based. That's all these niggas talk about is the community. Because in Marxism, everything belongs to the community.
All right, real quick. I do want to make sure because we kind of moved on. Hood, do we look at everything that need to be looked at with the thing here with this video?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up that little point. I don't want to talk about that.
Oh, ain't nothing else to really talk about here.
Well, one, there's no real like audio to go along with it. It's just music.
Okay, they just showing what the. I was waiting to see the roller coaster, but no roller coaster.
I was joking about the roller coaster.
Oh, okay.
They should build one though. I mean, you want to make money.
I thought y'all were gonna call it Resort de la Slav.
Oh wow.
Oh, damn, man.
Well, they got a road called Route de la Esclave. They got a whole road called Slave Road. So I mean, we're not that far off.
You're right when you say it like that.
Right, literally, it's not me. That's why I brought it up. I'm like, bro, I think we got the misconception. You know, this Pan-African thing wasn't created in Africa. It's something we made, and I bet you like Pan-Africans be looking at it like, look at these niggas trying to get back in our house. Like, I don't really think they care about it like we do.
Hey, Hood, did that? I asked somebody because I know the origination of the quote unquote holiday, right? But I asked somebody. I said, "Hey, have you ever asked an African about Kwanzaa?" Because this person like was like, I mean, going hard in the paint, talking about their history and all this other stuff. I'm like, do you know where Kwanzaa actually originated from? And
Karanga, some shit.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the dude was like, you know, inmate and all that stuff, and it doesn't have ties to the continent per se.
Of course not.
And I'm like, dude, you don't even know what you're talking about. People use words that have like this, I don't know, amorphous, like weird, like esoteric kind of meaning to them.
Boom. That was
I guess
the word.
it feels good, I guess, just to have anything that's not something you know the white man touched, you know, kissed by the white man, if you will. And
Can I build off of that?
Yeah, go ahead.
You make okay. Y'all be missing gems that dirty folks be saying. Okay, I mean, dirty folks for president 2024. Okay. And maybe it's the way that dirty folks talks sometimes that the gems that he says goes past. But when he says women dig the jersey or the uniform or, you know, and the logo. Thank you. You know, and every country got to have a flag and the beer. The point is that Negroes love symbolism. Love it. Think about it. From brand names on down to wearing fucking dashikis to a Black Panther premiere. Niggas love symbolism. Okay, tell me I'm lying about this. All a candidate has to do is evoke symbolic language, and that's generally what they do when they're speaking to Black audience. It sounds like pandering to me, but what do I know? I'm just a smart guy. You know what I'm saying? So the point is that, man, you definitely have to do these things, you know, almost to appeal to this mindset. It's kind of damn Hood. That's not me.
I'm sorry.
No, that's Hood conservative.
Okay.
Driving.
It's kind of like, and this gets back into dirty folksism again. And this ain't just females. It's like a toddler's mind. Think about when you had children when they were young. Every damn bright, shiny object they wanted to fucking grab. And it's like, damn, put your hands down for a second. That's how niggas are and shit with the symbolism. Tell me, am I lying?
I said it earlier, Sir Tice. Bernard Hood conservative could back me up. All they want is the symbolism.
That's why so many Black people were so moved when those disgusting octogenarians in the Democrat Party got on one knee with kente cloths around their decrepit shoulders. Nigga, are you serious?
Hey, Nate,
that shit meant something to you?
Nate, do you know what's wild about that, man? Like even the what Sir Tice brought up in the Dashiki, right? Certain patterns hail from certain areas. And when you bring this stuff up, be like, hey, why are you wearing this particular pattern? You know, like to represent this particular person. They look at you crazy. Be like, yo, everything had meaning back in the day. People were more practical. They were like more knowledgeable. They understood stuff. And they didn't just grab whatever off the shelf. You know what I'm saying?
You have to actually be able to explain your. Listen,
Well,
go ahead, Hood.
I just wanted. The interesting thing about kente cloth specifically is, correct me if I'm wrong, but the kente cloth, whatever the name of the people who originated that stuff, they were slave traders. So it's not like, we're wearing like Nike slavery. This is like the African Nike of slavery.
No, but they'll tell me I'm looking too far into it, but then they want to go back to slavery. I'm like, wait, hold up. You want to go back to just slavery, or are we going through all of history?
Do you know why I love, pause, the men in this space that lean to the political right, as opposed to the other, the other side of the political spectrum in this space? And there's all sorts of dudes in between, and God bless those dudes, the PUAs, the guys hyper focused on finance. Man, salute to all the brothers. What you do, where you go, how you find your information. I ain't got nothing negative to say about it, except for those guys, on the other side. I can't deal with them. We, unlike them, the reason I love and respect the men in this space that lean to the political right, we all deal with the burden of truth. The truth is a burden because the truth can make you look bad. Us as black men, and it's difficult to deal with these issues. But I respect and honor the men that are the men on this panel and most of the men in the chat, because we deal with the fucking truth. It doesn't matter if it makes some of us look bad. It's the truth. We operate under the pressure and the burden of the truth. And I just want to tip my motherfucking hat and salute to the niggas with the courage to do that. Thank you.
I tell you what, man, it's exhausting at times, man. Like to just think when so many people don't.
My God, yes.
Like, oh man, part of it, man, be like making people angry. But I'm like, you like all the results that I can bring you, right? Even at work, the results I can bring you is because of the way I think. But then when it's an inconvenience, you don't like it.
That's a bar.
And God forbid you're at Thanksgiving, you're at Christmas with the family, and God forbid you let them know what your political leanings are. It turns into World War III. You got a group of usually fairly middle to upper middle class, well-to-do people telling you how terrible life is in America. Fucking Roland Martin is worth over $5 million. I'm sorry. Michael Eric Dyson, when I checked, had a net worth of over $5 million. And his latest book was The Tears That Will Not Stop. Like as if black men wake up crying in the fucking morning.
What they will tell you is, so what's wrong with that? They figured out an economic engine. So what if it's grifting? It's legal. What's your take on that? One second, Nate, before you answer, whoever just laughed, am I lying?
No, hell no, man. Like this is like the drug dealers, man. Straight
the
up.
Roland Martins, the Michael Eric, they are beautiful analogy. They're poverty and victimhood and grievance culture drug dealers. That's all these niggas are. Mark Lamont Hill, all them niggas. All they do is deal in failure and victimhood. It's why they get to live in white neighborhoods behind security fences.
Well, they'll respond that you're just mad because you don't.
No, I'm broken. Remember.
Well, that's right. My bad. You're right.
I'm broken, dog.
Yeah.
Eric Little, real quick. Eric Little in the building with $2 super chat. Do appreciate that. He says, when I am in the gym, I channel Big Nate. I think he listened to some little Big Nate rants to get him amped up, ready to go for his workout.
I really think that Nate
before you
crazy.
say that, Sir Tice.
Okay, go ahead.
Who hurt y'all?
Oh,
Sir Tice, when you said they don't like the inconvenience, I don't think it's inconvenience. I think it's work. They don't like the work.
Oh,
No,
All of us.
no, that was me. That was me.
Oh,
True hype.
excuse me. Well, you. It's not inconvenience. It's work that they don't like. That's what it is. Because look, all of us up here had to put in a work mentally to get to this point. I don't know anyone's socioeconomic status, so I'm not going into that. But what I'm going to say is we put in the work mentally to even be able to come up here and have this conversation, to even be able to deal in the truth. And I'm sure on a financial level, we are doing okay. But it's the work that these people don't want to do. Because guess what? When you get off the Democratic plantation, you then have to work to build yourself both mentally and in things, in houses and cars and stuff. They don't want to do that. Look at most of the Negroes on the plantation over there. A lot of them are begging. They're not doing any work.
So to
and
add to what
and who do they listen to? Who do they get their political direction from?
Black women.
Mark Lamont Hill.
No,
Roland Martin.
No, I disagree. They don't even go that deep. They get it from black women. Real quick, well, I was going to say, Bernie.
That's a fact.
Right. I don't know if Nate have these scripted or things, these rants, or is he really that crazy? Because it's, you know,
this is from the heart.
I swear, it's almost
Off
guaranteed.
the dome.
It's off the dome. No. Bro, I told y'all I've been at this war for over 20 years against leftist niggas.
Hold on a second, Nate. Yeah, I got you. Nate, now to what Black Thought said, look, I'm not trying to make myself out like I'm this balling guy, whatever. I've had my low points in life, but because I was willing to do the work and the study, and I got to where I've gotten, and I've had scenarios with brothers on the job, and I've always been, back when I used to go into a job, I've always been the guy to look out for, you know, if I see another brother, we're going to exchange some information. And it's been times like, okay, well, here's what you need to do. And you know what the guy looked at me? He said, well, shit, I was just hoping you could just hire me. I'm like, wow. Like, wait a minute. I'm not,
so you're proving my point, basically.
Exactly. And you know, no, just one more thing. I've seen so many brothers get burned off of that because they thinking, you know what? Because let's be honest, in the real world, white, black, Indian, whatever, people do hire their homies or whatever. Hell, Michael Jordan even did that shit or whatever, right? Okay. The thing is you expect for them to learn on the job. But many of them have gotten burned by those people who just said, fuck it, we just gonna coast. We here now, right? Go ahead, Black Thought.
No, I'm good. Go ahead, little big name. I'm good.
I was.
Can I jump in for a second?
Sure,
There's something else I've been wanting to say. And I think what a lot of us are up against is this issue of, somebody mentioned it earlier, we've been kind of, all of us to a certain degree have been raised on a level of symbolism. And I think most of us had to sort of learn something other than what we've been taught, and then that's how we kind of got to the positions that we are in, like the political positions and the social takes that we have. And what I think we were sort of up against with the young man that was on the panel before is somebody who was sort of raised on symbolism. He was fed symbolism, and the problem is for a lot of people, a lot of black people, especially when you're young and you know in school or college or whatever, you get trained in these symbolic ideas, but you don't always get to have that rigorous clash of ideas where you just, you know, throw two ideas together to see which one is actually stronger. And then, you know, time goes on, life happens, and you find yourself in one of these conversations, and you get your reality tested, basically.
You're not ready. You're not ready.
Right. And not only that, but I was also before I was on Bernard's, I was talking about like the elements of a con. And there comes a point when a person getting conned where you accept the lie. And then not only do you accept the lie, if somebody else tries to explain to you how you're getting misled or whatever, you will now defend the lie. And because part of that is like you're almost defending your own honor. So like there was a point in this conversation where the guy he took offense. He was like, "What? You trying to confuse me? Trying to tell me I'm stupid or something?" And I think somebody laughed, and I was trying to peel it back, like, "No, bro, it's not like that. Like I'm trying to actually talk to you." And that's a very typical response, though. And in these type of conversations, it's a very typical response because it does become that thing of like, all right, so now you're telling me everything I believed is wrong. What are you saying about me? And it becomes personal like that, and then it goes to all these other places. But it's like people have been raised on symbolism, and not actual rational thought. And when they meet rational thought, it gets interesting.
Hey, Hood.
But before,
Like,
if I could, real quick,
go ahead.
before Friedman pops in, man, this type of thinking is debilitating to a race of men. We are the least productive in the sense of job creation and entrepreneurship, which is the key to really realizing the American dream. No smoke to people who are employees. I've been an employee for, since I was 16. So again, no smoke, this ain't no Dame Dash shit. But please, you have got to understand how debilitating Democrat, leftist, liberal, progressive, it's all the same thing, how destructive that ideology is to a group of men. Women can survive because that type of ideology is supported by the money, that they're given to destroy themselves. Fine. We can't be a race of men who have an ideology of victimhood and grievance culture. It's cool for women to do it. That's just women. But dog, we are being left behind in the dust. Hispanics create 3 times the number of jobs that we do. 3 times. We've been here as long as anybody. This country belongs to us as much as it does anyone. More than most people.
More than most.
More than most. And we participate in what makes it so magnificent, which is free market capitalism, the least. And it's not because we're predetermined to be employees or failures or whatever, or never to own anything. It's because of our political allegiance and the way we think and the people we listen to politically. And shout out to the gentleman that brought up several more names. I think it was Eric Byrd, Boyce Watkins, all them niggas on the left that are the boule gatekeepers. That's what I was going to
say. Oh, okay, hold on, because I know you got Friedman and others.
I'm done.
What are your thoughts? Do you all agree in general? I'll pass the mic. Do you all agree in general that these people are generally speaking, maybe not Professor Griff per se, but are gatekeepers of thought?
Not Jay-Z.
I would say all except for Jay-Z. He has his snafuls, stupid things that he said, but he doesn't directly come out and tell black men to be against something. These guys directly come out.
Me personally, I don't know about. I don't listen to Willie D that much, and I can't even tell you that much about what.
He's a leftist. He is.
And Nate, you think everybody a leftist? Damn near. Come on, So I'll still say I don't know until I can. But anyway, Professor Griff, I don't know either with that one. But I do know the words come out of Boyce Watkins' mouth, and and he be on some bullshit. But shout out to Eric Byrd for supporting the stream. Shout out to everybody. Let me get to some super chats that just came down the pipeline. Eclectic Agitator in the building says they got that blue magic. He was referring to an earlier part of the stream. Do appreciate that. Shout out to Eric Byrd, who we just acknowledged. Shout out to L.A. Wilkes in the building again. Says salute to Nate, not wilding out and giving us the best clips. Yeah, shout out. Yeah, definitely. He definitely delivered some clips. Sick with it, yo, in the building. Says for continued support. Absolutely 100%. Appreciate everybody who's supporting the stream. We are joined by Freedman's Journal. Go ahead, you have the floor. You got the mic.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
Good, man.
Hey,
Good. Good to you.
Okay, so write this down, right? You cannot you cannot talk someone out of a position that they were not talked into. You understand? So what that means is if someone is conditioned into a response, you cannot logic them out of it, right? There's a reason that the guy with the buckwheat avatar said the exact same thing, right? Have we not heard that before? I mean, the exact words, word for word, right? That is because it is cultural conditioning and they aren't thinking about it, right? It's cultural conditioning. We come in and we want to say, hey, here's a rational reason why you shouldn't believe that. And they're like, I don't know, because they are conditioned into it. You know what I'm saying? So what I do usually is I say, oh, okay, well, that's cool. Convince me of your position. I mean, what objective thing did you look at that we can both look at and you can show me what you think, right? And that's usually crickets, because then they have to find something that actually fits that narrative, right? And then they start thinking, and then that unravels the
game over
weed,
there.
right?
Game
Yeah,
over.
That's when you start pulling on a thread, and they're like, I don't know. But so anyway, now my next point.
Fraggy.
My next point is, convince me. So, and look, all right. So there's this experiment, right? Where they have the monkeys, and they put a banana on the ceiling, right? And then when the monkey tries to get the banana, they hose down the rest of the monkeys. So now they condition the monkeys to attack any monkey that tries to achieve the banana, right? And so one by one, they replace the monkeys in the cage and they rerun the experiment, and then they stop hosing them down. But guess what? The monkeys that have never been hit with water will still try to keep a new monkey from trying to get the banana, and they will self-perpetuate that behavior.
It's almost the same analogy as like with the elephant and the string in the circus. You've heard that, right?
Yeah, I've heard that. But in this analogy, they will actively try to keep you from achieving.
Yeah,
I guess
that is
that's
why.
different. That's different than the elephant and the string and everything, because we're talking about this scenario. We're talking about elephants that have never been on the string, essentially. Like that. That's the difference in what Freeman's Journal is explaining. They're doing it, and they don't even know why they're doing it. They're just doing it because they've seen other monkeys do it. They don't even know why it's bad. They haven't challenged it, haven't tested it, haven't thought it through. It's just like, no, don't do that. We don't do that. Why?
Exactly. So
we just don't do it. We don't know why.
Say it the right way.
Exactly.
Like, Bernard, say it the right way. We don't do that here.
Yeah.
No, exactly. A perfect example of that is when the guy with the buckwheat avatar was talking to Little Big Nate, and he said, "Oh, you're he tried to some insulting phrase, but
you're a handkerchief wearer or something like that."
Right. So that is just that is don't grab the banana on the ceiling. We don't do that, right? It is this collective. We're going to stop you from doing it. That is why when Black people succeed, it's almost like you're not Black anymore.
Oh, you're not supposed to.
Well, you're not supposed to do that.
You have on a handkerchief. You have on a handkerchief, so you're not Black anyways, right now.
Yeah, if you that's what happens, man. And it's always been this way, right? The miseducation, the Negro, it goes all the way back to Reconstruction. It's the same thing, right? When you would educate somebody in the South, it was like, oh, it's like this. Well, I don't want to be part of the group that's pulling everybody down from getting the banana. I got to go do something else, right? And they know if you want to get the banana, right? If you want to achieve that thing, then there's something wrong with you.
Would you consider this part of the hive mindset, similar to what many Black women hold? In other words, people, and I don't want to get too deep into the actual analogy of a beehive, but one thing I know with a lot of sisters, even those who know, I've seen sisters who know better, who says they're not going to say something because they don't want to be attacked.
Yep.
And men,
right.
And what I'm finding more embarrassing about Black men is, let me go on video. What I'm finding more embarrassing about Black men nowadays is Black men are responding in the same way that Black women work, and that's not how men are supposed to move. We're supposed
we get all our cues from Black women, Tice.
Well, no, I got you on that, Nate. No, what I'm saying is that men, if you got a family and 9 of the kids say we're gonna eat this, it's supposed to be the man say, no, we're not gonna eat this. I don't give a fuck if y'all got the majority. I'm using a simple analogy like that, but dudes do not want to go against because they're afraid of being called coons and all that other shit. So would you agree with that?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Completely.
So I want to say something here, right? I think there's an aspect of this that kind of gets pushed to the side that that we have to look at as to why so many black people cannot think logically. And somebody touched on it closely but didn't quite get there. The reason why a lot of black people can't see anything besides the garbage that comes from the left is because the left has effectively tied being black with being a Democrat.
Indeed.
So they see, so when you say something different, you're attacking their blackness, number one, which they hold their blackness high, and you're attacking the person to them. See, that's a big thing as to why people are very scared, because they started, they let one of the staunchest racists tell them, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. They allowed that to fly, right?
If you don't vote Democrat, you're not black. Exactly.
And what a lot of black people don't realize, and I don't know if it's because they're uneducated, I don't know if it's just because they're in a box, it's that when you look at everyone else in this country, right, including immigrants, when you look at how they vote, they are allowed to vote all sides. The only people that is boxed in and one side is tied to their nationality is black people. That has never been said to Asians. That has never been said to Hispanics. That has never been said to whites, to Indians, to anyone that come here and vote. Only black people. And if you don't think for yourself, you're going to believe my blackness is tied to the Democratic Party. And I think that's what a lot of people are suffering. And when you come and tell them, hey, look, there's up and down, they can't handle it because you're attacking their blackness and their individual.
And
white liberal woman.
Real quick, I promise. To Black Thought's point, it's not just blacks that vote that way. Black people's alleged closest friends, the small hats, they overwhelmingly vote Democrat too. Yet they control your music, they manage all of your talent. Oh my goodness, isn't that strange? They started the NAACP. They were at the forefront of the financing a lot of black colleges. Isn't that strange?
So let me say this
your white liberal Jewish buddies overwhelmingly vote Democrat too. Interesting.
So let me say this too.
Well,
just real quick.
Hold on, wait, real quick.
All
Shout
right,
out to Luke Hazley with the $5 super sticker. Do appreciate that. Go ahead. We're going to go to the gentleman that just came up. I think it's RP Doomer. But go
All right,
ahead,
so can I just jump in and touch on something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, real quick.
So I don't know if you guys listen to Dennis Prager, right? I'm not necessarily 100% on him, but I'm also not closed-minded, so I listen.
Prager, yes, sir.
Yes. Dennis Prager said, the left has disdain for black people. They have pure contempt for black people. He then proceeded to say, the small hats overwhelmingly vote Democrat.
Thank you.
So I'm going to let you guys take that for what that is. But to me, he said what everyone's scared to say.
All right, we are joined by
RP Doomer.
RP Doom, Red Pill Doomer.
I was having like a conversation with my dad the other day about this Democrat, why you shouldn't be voting like for the Democrat Party. Basically, he doesn't want to vote for like the Republicans because he thinks they're all white and stuff like that. I'm like, there's Mexicans, there's blacks, people you can vote for. I'm like, there's good people you can vote for on the Republican Party. But he said like all people are racist and stuff. He started calling like Democrats racist and shit like that. Like, what the hell?
So your pops is saying. At first
he's anti-white.
racist.
Yeah, he's anti-white. He wants to be white though. He doesn't want to go. I told him like, go back to Africa, basically. He doesn't want to go back to Africa, basically.
What was that? What was that? Anyway, I can clean this up. I think, old boy, RP Doomer, I think your name is, brother, and good evening or good afternoon, I should say. his father, I've heard this pathology before, and it's basically, what's funny about it is I can point to the LA City Council where
the
all
Hispanic
Democrat.
lady.
Yeah, where they call it the black kids monkeys and things like that. But hey, there's no racists in the Democrat Party, right? But I'm gonna land the plane here. It's amazing to me when black people conclude, yeah, everything you said makes sense, but they racist over there. Whereas I'm like, so you're uncomfortable with racists, even though you might work next to one right, who sits right next a cube over from you, but you have no problem with groomers. Nate, you can name off the whole list that's in the Democrat. I mean, straight up people who endorse grooming and things like this. And it really tears apart their reasoning there. And it just goes to show you, it goes back to what Friedman had mentioned earlier about just the conditioning that they're in. This is just their rationale is they racist over there. But then when you break it down, it's 10 times worse over here. You have groomers, you have people you have people who steal, you have foreign influence peddling, I'm trying to think of all the things that Biden
open borders,
taxes. You got all this stuff that's coming in. So you can wash that away under the rug, but that racism, oh no. Even though
you know what it is?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, black people are always we've been fighting yesterday's war for like the last 30 years now.
That's a fact.
I mean, at a certain point, and I think I heard Obsidian do like a whole stream about this one issue, but the civil rights movement worked. Like that was a battle that was won. But there are a lot of black people who are stuck in the battle. It's like that trope about the last Japanese soldier stuck on the island and he thinks the war is still going on. And that's kind of the position we're in, where we have other wars to fight. We need our army for this other battle that's coming up, and everybody's tied down fighting the civil rights battle of 1968.
And I'm going to say something very controversial. I venture to say black people don't really care about racism. And here's why. They seem to can never see it or can always make excuses when it comes from the left. Every time. But they're so enthralled in caring about racism, but they never see it or make excuses on it when it comes from someone on the left. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, no. Hold on. That's the real quick. I can explain that. That is the cultural programming, right? White, air quotes, right, is tied to Republican, not to Democrat. You understand what I'm saying? So when they say, "Oh, they did this," they're like, "Well, I don't know. That doesn't, doesn't bother them." Why? Because white is tied to Republican. White is tied to police. White is tied to cop. White is.
But while they're looking at white people in the Democratic Party,
yeah, but even deeper than that, it goes to tribalism. It goes to tribalism. It's the logo analogy.
Exactly. You're not tribal, right? You're not programmed, so it makes no sense. You're trying to use logic. It's not a logical reaction.
I have a question.
It is a programmed response.
I have a question for the young man. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you, sir?
I'm 23.
Young, excellent. All right.
Yeah, like my dad, like he doesn't want to go back to Africa. Like he said, like they're all criminals, they rape women and stuff like that. He doesn't want to go back to like Jamaica. He wants to go like Canada or New Zealand or something like that. He doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be with the black people.
He don't see what's going on in Canada,
or the history behind New Zealand.
All right, let's see where Nate was going with his line of questioning.
The most valuable advice I can give you as a 23-year-old black man, and you're an American citizen, you're in America, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Basically.
you plan on staying here?
No, I'm planning to go to South America, basically.
Okay, all right. Well, wherever you go, do not worry about who likes you and who doesn't. You're not going to really experience a lot of this in other countries. America, because black people sojourn and things of that nature. Black people love to victims. We need our crutches. When you're a victim, you got a broken leg or a broken ankle all the time for some strange reason. You're always going to need crutches, all right? And black people use race not only as a crutch, but we use it as a weapon. I'm proud to be black. I love being black. Okay, my children are black, whatever. I don't use black as a weapon to harm other people with. And that's where things have devolved to, thanks to the left. I mean, BLM is a perfect example of using blackness as a weapon to cause $2 billion in physical damage to the country, create huge chasms between black and white and black and everybody else, because they see us out here destroying shit. Black people join forces with the most disgusting and degenerate whites, members of Antifa, which is a crime syndicate and a pedophile ring. Literally, Antifa is a crime syndicate and a pedophile ring, period. And here we are using blackness as a victim. You cannot care who likes you and who doesn't. Worry about who respects you. And whether black people on the left will admit it or not, white conservatives, for the most part, are more than happy to respect you. If you respect this country, if you're productive, if you whoop your children and you keep your fucking lawn mowed, they will respect you. I'm not telling you they're going to like you. What the fuck do you care if they like you? They will respect you. And if you have a business, I'm telling you, and look, motherfuckers may disagree with me, but there are white people in this country that are even more inclined to do business with you if they know
they
you are America
basically
first.
Because I met up with like a white person, like a white nationalist or something like that. He was like, he likes Germany basically, and I met up with him basically. He basically convinced me. He sold me on nationalism and everything, how to fix America. I tried to sell my dad on that. I showed him like a little bit of a nationalist flag, but he's not sold on nationalism and saving America. Basically, he doesn't want to save black culture at all.
Well, I don't disagree with him not wanting to save like quote unquote black culture, because whenever you think about black culture, you got the BET Awards.
Oh,
How
do they get worse every year? How do they get more disgusting how is that even possible?
They get funded basically by Hollywood and everything like that.
Eclectic agitator in the building with $2 super chat once again. I think he was referring to the statement that you're not black if you don't vote Democrat. So he's saying so we can vote our way out of blackness. That's an interesting point. But thank you for the $2 super chat. Do appreciate that. And definitely shout out to Machismo TV.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
When you
All
put the
right,
word-
make sure you subscribe to Machismo TV. Make sure you go and subscribe to Machismo TV, the best Manosphere Clips channel in the business. We rolling up on the 3-hour mark. So I know Nate, you was trying to say something, but we got to get up out of here. I got to shut this thing down. Thank you once again, Hood Conservative, coming through on another Saturday show, another Saturday classic. Definitely appreciate everybody on the panel. Make sure you want to subscribe to Hood Conservative. Come here every Saturday, and make sure you subscribe to Machismo TV. And thank you for the support, everybody. Whether you like, share, subscribe, super chat, Cash App, did anything to support the stream, each and every one of you, appreciate it. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace. We go.